And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Edmond versus Athanasatos. Step forward, please.
Postal worker Tracy Edmond is suing tattoo artist Alex Athanasatos for the cost of a tattoo removal. Tracy says Alex botched a tattoo of her late mother.
Bird, don't get too comfortable.
This is going to be a quick one.
Yes. Miss Edmond, according to your complaint, the defendant is a tattoo artist.
Yes.
And you went to the defendant because you recently lost your mother?
Yes.
And you wanted a picture of your mother memorialized on your body?
Yes.
Ah. A picture on your dresser wouldn't have done?
It would have.
Right. You're unhappy with the picture that he did, and you want him to pay thousands of dollars to have the picture removed. Is that right?
Yes.
First of all, do you want to show me the tattoo? Where is it, on your arm?
Yes.
Could you step up here? Okay. And I see you've had tattoos before.
Yes.
So that's not... How many tattoos do you have altogether?
7.
7. Had you ever done work for her before?
No.
Did he come recommended to you?
Yes.
But I'm going to get to your complaint. You said everything was going fine until you saw him light up a joint and start to smoke a joint.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Did you get up and leave?
No, because it was almost half done.
Almost half done is not done. Now, according to what I read in your complaint, you said everything was going fine, right?
Yes.
And he was doing a good job, right?
Yes.
Until he started to smoke a joint.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at that point, you get up and leave, and you said, listen, when you're finished, I'll come back tomorrow. Why didn't you do that?
I don't know.
If you don't know, how should I know? If somebody is doing brain surgery, and they seem to be doing okay,
How do you know?
and right in the middle of the brain surgery, they say, do me a favor, would you give me a double vodka?
I'll take one.
Quiet.
Sorry.
That's the time you say, listen, we'll finish this surgery another time. Or get somebody else to close me up. Or something. You don't sit there and hope for the best and then say, well, he was smoking a joint and clearly he wasn't doing the right thing, so I sat there like a jerk and let him finish, because then he wasn't doing a good job anymore, and then complain that it doesn't look like your mother. Anything else you want to tell me?
No, listen to you.
Perfect. Anything else you want to tell me?
I have nothing to say.
Good! See what I mean? Case dismissed.
Isaac. This is case number 240 on the calendar in the matter of Noraki versus Scanlon. Isaac, been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat.
Ms. Noraki, you are a daycare provider.
Yes.
And you were hired by the defendant to take care of one child, a boy.
Correct.
And it is your claim that when she removed her child from your daycare facility, under the circumstances described here, which you're going to explain to me in a minute, she filed a complaint against you with the state, causing you to lose business, and that the complaint that she filed was really slanderous and not true.
Right.
Is that right?
Yes.
Ms. Scanlon says she had every reason to file the complaint that she did, that she has witnessed things in your daycare center that were inappropriate, and that the way you acted with regard to her child was also inappropriate, right? When did you enroll your child in her facility?
I enrolled my son Robert the beginning of June of 2002.
For how many days a week?
3 days.
And how old is Robert?
He was at the time 20 months.
How did you find the plaintiff?
I called up a Suffolk County Child Care Council, and they referred me a bunch of names on a list, which I checked out a few names. Loretta's name was on the list, and I went to her house and interviewed her, and that's how I found her.
She takes care of children in her house?
Yes.
And you're a working mom?
Yes.
When did the problem occur?
Actually, I never had a problem with Lori, the way she ran her daycare. My son went right into her arms when I dropped him off, so I knew that he liked her. The only problem I had was when it came to money, and the problem started the week of her birthday. Her birthday was the day before the 4th of July, where she did inform me that she was taking that day off, that I would have to find somebody to watch my son. And when I dropped him off that day, I paid her for 2 out of the 3 days of the week.
You mean the day that Robert would actually be there?
I paid her for it.
And July 4th, which
Yes.
was a holiday.
Right.
Is that right?
Yes.
Why?
It's in my contracts.
Let me see. I want to see the signed one that she signed.
She never gave it to me.
I
No,
never
then you don't
signed
have it.
No.
Then you don't have it. So you don't have a contract with her.
No. She,
Shh, just a second. Second of all, paragraph 7 of this is inconsistent. And I'm going to tell you why it's inconsistent, because it says the provider, that's you, will be paid for the following holidays. And you have Memorial Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving Day, and the day after, Christmas Day and the day after, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. But you also have July 3rd and 4th. In what almanac is July 3rd a holiday?
it's not. It's the holidays I take.
Well, you know, you'd expect to be paid for those days.
Yes, when we sit down, when she came and I interviewed her, we go over this step by step.
I don't have a contract that she signed.
She
And I
made
wanna tell
them
you-
to me.
And I
She-
want to tell you
she printed
something.
them up on her
That's the
computer.
dumbest thing that I ever heard, that your
Okay.
birthday is a paid holiday for a part-time worker. I mean, I have a son who thinks that his birthday is a national holiday. But, you know, I mean, we sort of joke about it. All right, so what happened when you left? You were very nice. You paid her $100 for 2 days, and your son was only going to be there 1 day that week, so that was
Yes.
very nice of you. She called and she said, you didn't give me enough money.
Yeah, she called me screaming. She was very upset.
Uh-huh.
She told me that none of her other parents give her problems like I do. Who am I to pay her when I feel like paying her? And she told me to come and pick my son up now.
So what did you do?
I called my mother because I couldn't leave my job at the time, and my mom immediately went over to pick up Robert.
That's not true at all.
Well, tell me what happened. You called her.
And I told her, before this, we've already had a discussion about money.
Why?
I get
What kind of
paid
a discussion?
A week before this, my husband was in the house, and she told me, Lori, do I have to pay you for your vacation in August? I said, yes, I get paid for my vacation in August. I've been doing this for 13 years. I've never had a parent argue with me over my vacation times. Everybody gets a vacation. I'm entitled to a vacation.
Not you.
Well,
You're
I'm-
not. You don't run a daycare service. You don't run a business. You take care of children in your home.
Yes, I do.
There's a difference. If you had a nursery school and you wanted to go away on vacation and you had other people working for you who were going to cover these children for the 2 or 3 days a week that they were there, that's fine. That's not what you do. When you're not taking care of them in your house and they're still working, they have to hire somebody else to take care of their children, so they're paying twice.
This is how
This
I've run it.
is.
This is how
What
I've
kind
run
of
it.
this is?
This is how I've run it for 13 years. I've never had a problem.
Well,
I've
now
never
you had a problem.
Argue with me. I'm not suing her for the contract.
Now you have a problem.
Yes, I do. A big problem.
Because instead of waiting for her to come home to pick up her child that day, you were angry enough to call her at work.
Yes.
Now, if I were a parent and I had a 20-month-old baby that you were watching that day, and you couldn't control yourself sufficiently
And never
to
raised
wait
my voice.
until she came home to pick up her child and say, look, let's sit down and talk about this, but was so angry that you called her at work, even if you didn't tell her to come and pick up her baby, I would have come and pick up my baby.
I
would have been there
angry.
in a second. I would have said, I'm not leaving my baby with her. She's mad at me. I don't know if she's going to take this out on my baby or not. She can't control herself sufficiently to wait till I get home. I'm not taking a chance. Now, we don't have a contract. She gave you an extra day's pay that you weren't entitled to for July 4th, but she was a nice person. You wanted your birthday, too. As far as I'm concerned, you wouldn't get it. Is that what you called the state about?
No, what I called the state about was how she reacted when my mother came to pick up my son and asked for my $100 back because she did not supply the service to me that I paid her for. I paid her at the beginning of the week to watch him for that day and for the holiday. So when my mother went to pick him up, she was standing at the door with him in her arms and the diaper bag, and my mother said to her, my daughter would like her $100 back.
Is that what she said to you?
Absolutely not.
What
First
happened?
of all, she
Well, your
came
mother's
up-
not here, so
Right.
she can tell me.
Okay, first of all, she came up to my house fuming, banged on my door like she was going to knock it down. Walked into my house, told me give her grandson. I said, he's all packed up, he's ready to go. I was just about to say, you know what, tell Stephanie to call me when she gets home. This is getting out of hand. This is ridiculous. For 50 bucks, this is ridiculous. When she called me an effing, she said, give me my daughter's $100, cursing. I said, let me tell you something. I have kids here. My daughters are here. She goes, yeah, I have cops in my family. You better keep an eye on those girls, meaning my daughters. Now I got frantic. I said, you know what? You need to leave. She goes, I'll leave when I'm ready to leave. I said, you need to leave now. I picked up the phone to call the police. She walked out of the house. Next thing I know, the state is at my door.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She also said that I pushed her mother down the stairs with her son in her arms.
From what my mother told me, she was a raving lunatic.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Daycare provider Loretta Naraki says former client Stephanie Scanlon filed false charges with social services. Stephanie says she only told the truth.
Go ahead.
She didn't say about the money. She didn't say any of that. She said I was mistreating the kids.
Let me see the report.
She said I had people watch.
Just a second. Ms. Scanlon, did you report the plaintiff for anything other than what happened with your mother?
Absolutely.
Well, then what did you say?
Well, what I said was that in the few weeks that Robert was in her care, there were more than 2 children under the age of 2. In New York State, including your own child, you're not allowed to watch more than 2 at a time. So she had her child, Jalen, who was under 2, another child, who I won't say his name, and then my son Robert made the 3rd. So she was breaking the law right there.
Is that correct?
No, it's not correct. I watched 2 children under the age of 2. My daughter turned 2 in June.
When did you see more than 2
I saw
children?
Max and Tony 3 days a week.
Who's Max?
The 2 children, the brothers.
That's good. I didn't watch a child named Max.
Okay.
At all.
Well, I assume that they investigated that.
Yes,
What
they
else
did.
did you tell them?
And the second thing that I spoke to them about was there were a few times when I picked up my son or when I tried to call there that Lori wasn't there. The first time being on Robert's 2nd day, I called to see how he was adjusting, and Lori's husband answered the phone. And I said, oh, well, where's Lori? And he said, oh, she just dropped Nicholas off at school. I had called another time when her sister was in town, and her niece Sammy answered the phone, and Sammy said, oh, she's at the diner with her sister.
Okay, and I have a letter that Sam is allowed to work when I am not in the household. She's been fingerprinted, and she is also one of my workers. So she is allowed to be in the house anytime I am not in the house.
Yeah, but I pay you. I don't pay Sam.
It says in the
Just a second.
contracts. If
Well,
I'm
I
not
don't
there.
contract.
Well,
nothing.
you made them. You made the contracts to me.
Shh, don't talk to each other.
Everybody in my household over the age of 18 has been fingerprinted and is allowed to be in the household with the children when I am not there.
Okay. Go ahead. What else?
Well, that was it. Those were the 2 things that I called.
She also said that I pushed her mother down the stairs with her son in her arms.
Well,
Now,
that
I
doesn't
couldn't
say
get
that
this
here.
report. I know, I couldn't get this report because I had to write to Albany for it. They called Stephanie and asked her if she would release it, and she said no.
All I can tell you is I assume that all of these things were marked unfounded.
Unfounded.
Okay.
But when you call the child care council and ask for a referral, they will give you my name, and in this letter I'll show you that they have to, by state law, tell you that a file was claimed against, filed against me. I normally, in the month of June and in the month of August and September, interview 7 to 10 people for new slots opening up. I did not get 1 phone call over the summer. So my daycare is going to go down the drain because the way life is now, I would not leave my daughters with somebody, even if it was unfounded, I would not leave my daughters with somebody where a claim was filed against them. So I had to enroll myself, now taking away more time from my children, in school to take up another occupation, because now I have to go to work.
Now, if I'm leaving the children with you, my baby with you, unless I am on actual notice that they will be taken care of by someone else.
Which I tell them every morning when they drop the child off.
Just a second. No, you don't.
I do.
No, you don't.
Well, I have
Because
letters from all my other parents.
This is clearly somebody who would have said, well, I'd like to meet your husband, I'd like to meet
She did.
Samantha.
She did.
I'd like to meet your husband. I'd like to meet Samantha. If they're going to be taking care of my child, did she tell you that other people would be taking care of your child?
Not taken care of. She did say that she had a helper that came in to help her, and every once in a while she would step out.
I did. And I
Okay.
introduced
Every
her to my
once in a
husband
while.
and Samantha.
But I have a list of 4 or 5 times in the 3-week period where she wasn't there, and that just wasn't acceptable to me.
Then you shouldn't have dropped him off that Tuesday morning. But you did because you continually told me how happy he was in my house.
And he was.
All right.
No, that's what you said. Then my question to you is, if that's true, and that's what you said to me initially, Miss Scanlon, that your son went to her and but for this money problem that you seem to have with her, and I'm not saying that's without justification, I think that you were justified, but for that problem, you said your son was happy, so why did you register these complaints against her when your real problem was with money?
Well, when my mother went to go pick up my son, from what my mother told me, she was a raving lunatic. She did not push my mother down the stairs, and I never said that. She pushed my mother, and my mother lost her balance. But you don't shove a woman, an elderly woman, who has a child in her hands.
Well, I don't know if that happened. Is that what your mother told you?
That's what my mother told me.
Fine. So let's say you reported that.
Right. She
Why the other things?
She was acting crazy. She ran out to my mother's truck because my son had...
That had to do with your mother.
Okay.
Forget that.
All right.
The complaints that you made had to do with inadequate care.
Right.
So why did you throw that in as frosting on the cake?
Well, again, because of what my mother told me, how she acted. And
you didn't say that. You said, you talked about the fact that she wasn't there, that there was somebody by the name of Samantha who was there. Did you say anything about that there weren't proper railings or barriers from one floor to another?
No.
You talked about alternative providers, that you talked about. And you talked about the number of children she had that she was watching?
Yeah.
Okay, but none of that seemed to be a problem to you before the incident with your mother. So forget that, the incident with your mother. You talked about other things, and what I'm asking you is, why?
I didn't think she was fit to watch my child at that point.
Because?
She called for $50. She called me up.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Right.
There's no issue about that. I'm just asking you why you threw in these other things.
To be malicious.
I was upset.
But you ruined my life.
Just a second. Just a second. You were upset. That's honest. So that was frosting on the cake because you were upset. She had a perfect right to call up to complain about the incident with the money. In all probability, there would have been a complaint generated as a result of that incident anyway. But there would not have been any of this other stuff that I believe you did maliciously. And I think that that's wrong. Now, I don't know whether you can say because you did that, she lost business, because certainly I have inadequate proof of that. But certainly, there has to be a consequence, Ms. Scanlon, of attacking someone in their business or profession when you get agitated. And that's what happened. You were angry. And I'm not faulting you at all with calling and reporting. Now, I don't know.
I also have a check here she wrote me. I lost it. I found it while going through everything, and I was afraid to cash it because I was afraid she'd have me arrested or something.
Let me see.
She was off the walls running crazy as it was. I didn't want to add insult to injury.
Well, she insisted on cash.
Yes, that's what it says in her,
And the first week of his care, I gave him a check. And she said, no, 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 I want cash.
Yes.
So I said, okay, fine. You know what? I'll bring you cash. And I put a stop payment on the check. Yeah, that week was paid for.
I'm sure it was paid for.
No.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was paid for. Because if it wasn't paid for, and this was in June, she would have been on your back. That's what happened.
No, it's not what happened.
Oh, you want to tell me your version of what happened?
Yes, I lost the check. I lost it. Was I gonna, tell her, write me another check? I lost the check. It was only the middle of June. She did all this July 3rd. July 2nd.
Did she pay you by cash every other time?
Every other time.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I figured I'd find the check and cash it. All right. You know, I don't take care of other people's children. I love what I do. I do it for a reason, to support my kids. If I get no other business coming in, the children I have now will be going to kindergarten in September. So I've just lost an entire business. I worked 13 years to get the reputation. I have letters from every single parent I worked for.
Then those parents should be able to
refer me.
Refer people to you.
Absolutely.
And Miss Scanlon, I believe that Miss Scanlon has to understand that she has to be much more careful. She has an absolute right to, if she has pure motives, and her motives were pure, to call up and say she reacted very, very badly when we had a dispute over money. She reacted unprofessionally. I want to report her unprofessional behavior. But I believe that with regard to the other complaints that she made about you, they were made with a malicious intent. And for that, I am awarding you $1,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. This is case number 86 on the calendar in the matter of Jenkins versus Fowler.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mrs. Jenkins, the defendant is your daughter.
I gave birth to her, yes.
And the co-defendant, your son-in-law.
Yes.
According to your complaint, you believe that your daughter and son-in-law owe you for their share of a trip that you took to Hawaii.
Yes.
You asked your daughter to join you so that she could help you with your wheelchair and getting around, and you agreed to pay for her.
Yes, I did that.
She wanted her husband to go along. You said you couldn't pay for him.
Yes.
Or would not pay for him, and she agreed to pay for him.
Right.
So you say that they owe you some $3,000 for the trip.
Well, there was more than that. I gave her the number to my credit card that she could use over the telephone, and so she charged up a lot of things for where we got started. Told her she could charge a car payment, utility bill, cellular one, Geico.
So a lot of other of their personal charges that they placed on your credit card.
Yes.
Can I see the list of credit card charges that you think that they owe you, Ms. Jenkins?
Do you also want to see where on a different credit card I paid for everybody?
Yes. Okay, so you paid for everybody's ticket and the hotel, but that you had agreed to pay for except for his ticket.
Right, and hotel. That's $800 and some for the whole thing. It was a package deal.
$25.33.
Yes.
I'm really more concerned about this credit card, $3,670.
I'm concerned about that too.
Well, tell me what your interpretation was of the agreement that you had with your mother when you went, and the bills that you paid from her credit card.
When this came about, Miss Jenkins had said that she wanted to take a trip to Hawaii, and she was quite ill. She had emphysema, and that this might be the last chance she'd get to see Hawaii. She'd been there several times, and she knew that I had never been to Hawaii, and she also, we'd only been married a short time, and we didn't have a honeymoon, and she needed a caregiver, and my husband was a medic while he was in the service, and she felt that between the two of us we could help her get around. But she also wanted to give it to us as a honeymoon present.
Is that what she said?
That's what she said. A honeymoon present that she was paying for 2/3, we would pay 1/3.
Or why would we go?
Just a minute. Go ahead.
Okay, and so I told her, I kept saying, no, we can't afford this. We just put a new roof on our house. We bought this older home that we were restoring. I had used both of our vacation time to go to my son's wedding in March in Kansas City. I had flown back to Maryland for my birth of my... I know, but there was no way we could afford to do this.
Okay.
I said, you know, if we're both missing a week of work, we can't pay our monthly payments. And she said, well, she had several credit cards with a zero balance, that she would be able to handle it.
As a loan or as a gift?
As a loan.
So some of your monthly expenses, in addition to 1/3 of the cost of the trip?
Right.
Okay.
Because I haven't been a part of Miss Jenkins' life, but the last 24 years, I have gotten to know my siblings, and they all told me that I needed to get everything in writing. They all warned me, or get witnesses. And in those phone calls, Miss Jenkins shared with us that...
Do you call your mother Miss Jenkins?
My mom, it is very hard, told us that it didn't matter how long it took or how many how long it took or how much we could afford per month. You know, that she really wanted to go on this trip, and she wanted to be able to experience the time. I've never been alone with my mom on a trip ever.
Why is that?
So she's never been a mother to her, Your Honor.
Well, I was 3 months old when I was sold to a family. It was considered like a black market by my biological father and mother. And
So you were raised by another family?
I was raised by another group of people that abused me for the first 18 years of my life.
And then you found your mother?
I was 29 when I made the first call on April 7th, 1978.
You have siblings?
I have 7 siblings.
All older?
2 older and the rest are younger, and 1 sibling by my father.
So this was really the first time you were alone with your mother?
Alone without anybody except for my husband.
So you have every intention, or your intention is or was to pay back the expenses that you put on this card, your phone bill and your insurance and the other things. Okay. Did you pay back any of the money to your mother?
Yes, I did.
How much did you pay back?
The total is $1,026.
Now, as far as you're concerned, does that bring you up to date with your mother, both for the expenses that you charged on a card and the third of the trip? Doesn't look
We
that
don't know
way.
how much a third of the trip was.
We have never received any documentation telling us the cost of the hotel or cost of the airplane ride, anything.
All I know is the trip to Hawaii was $25.33. One third of that is $8.44.
Okay.
Okay. And then the other charges that you have on this credit card, which is what your mother gave me. Let me see if I can come up with a number.
I have letters here from both Mary Lana and her husband that said how much they were going to pay and when they were going to pay. When she first came to Oregon, I co-signed for her to get a new car.
I'm not going, listen to me. Don't go back into ancient history. This is a very simple case, and let's not make it any more complicated, madam.
The last payments I got was for $13. That's what they're going to pay me the rest. $13 for 18 years will repay me for this loan.
How old are you, Miss Jenkins?
72.
You don't have a lot of money, but you have some, enough to keep you comfortable?
Yes.
Good. Is it important for you to have a relationship with your daughter?
Not now.
She never did before.
Just a minute. That's not her fault.
I was in the hospital when she was taken from me, and her father placed her with these people. I was in the hospital. He had deserted us. I was there for malnutrition and a kidney infection. And he brought these people to the hospital and said they wanted to adopt her. I throwed such a fit, they threw them all out. When I got out of the hospital, he had placed her with these people.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She told him that the used appliance man was my father. It's not a matter of money. I was sold for pots and pans and the cost of her hospital bill.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mary Jenkins says her daughter, Mary Lynn Fowler, and her husband, William Fowler, owe for a trip to Hawaii and for unpaid credit card charges.
Miss Jenkins, I'm not placing blame.
Oh, okay.
I'm not placing blame. All I'm saying to you, it's not her fault. She was the baby. She was a baby.
That's right.
So
it also was not my fault. I tried.
Well, it's not her fault, so it has to be parents' fault because the parents are the parents. It's not her fault. All I'm saying to you is...
I was 18 years old when she was born.
All I'm saying to you is, it seems to me that it's a very sad state of affairs.
It is a sad story.
When a parent, especially with a circumstance where there has been a terrible estrangement over the years, for a couple of $1,000s, sues a child. That's something that I hate to see. If a child disappoints you by not repaying a loan, what parents usually do is say, I'm not going to give them any more money. It's a sorry state of affairs when you choose, under these circumstances, over a trip, to bring a lawsuit against your children. Now I'm going to turn to your counterclaim for a minute, which you, I believe you know at this point is nonsense, but I'm just going to make sure you know it's nonsense. Your counterclaim is for 2 things. You believe that you should be paid for caregiving services on the trip to Hawaii. And then a certain emotional distress. The emotional distress, I'm sure, is some of the distress that you've just told me about. Well, you don't get paid for that. And as far as the caregiving for your mom, That was the arrangement. The arrangement was you were going to take care of her there so that she could travel. There was never any discussion of compensation, so you're not entitled to create a contract afterwards. So I'm sure that, but for the fact that your mother filed this lawsuit, you would not have filed your counterclaim.
Right.
Would that be a fair statement?
That's right.
Yes.
So,
The emotional stress, though, I did have to go into therapy, which was very helpful so that I could write the letter that started this whole thing. On January 2nd, I wrote her a letter sharing with her I knew the truth and that she doesn't realize I have the paperwork where she signed me off when I was 3 months old. I have 2 valid certificates of birth with 2 different names. The people that adopted me to put me on a life of abuse. I was 18 years. That's why the $13 for 18 years, for the 18 years of hell I lived in until I could leave home. It's not a matter of money. I was sold for pots and pans and the cost of her hospital bill. And my biological father shared in the guilt. He told me he was sorry. He thought he wasn't my father. She told him that the used appliance man was my father. So that's why he left. He didn't have any need to stay around any longer.
Mrs. Fowler, it sounds to me as if you have a lot on your emotional plate to deal with.
And I do, and I appreciate your allowing me to share.
I believe that you have a lot on your emotional plate to deal with. So let me just make some suggestions to you.
Thank you.
You have children?
I have 3.
How old are they?
My oldest is 33. He's a president of a company. My daughter lives here in Los Angeles. I adopted her from Cambodia, and she's 41. She's married to a fireman here, and my youngest son is just 30, and he's a doctor of psychology, and he just was out of the Navy during the 9/11.
So it sounds like you have 3 lovely children.
I do,
They've done
and
okay.
grandchildren.
And how many?
3 grandchildren
Soon
and
to be
2.
3.
No, I have 3. 2 boys here, 1
Wow.
girl in Nebraska, and 2 that are within the next week.
So it sounds like everything came together.
That's good.
Despite the pain in the beginning of your life. So
Right.
well, the reason I asked you the age of your kids is because you had children when they were 18. Remember when they were 17, 18 years old?
Definitely.
Tell me about them when they were 17, 18 years old.
Hot cars and fun times, and we also went through.
But irresponsible.
They had to be respectful, you know.
But
they had to be
irresponsible.
responsible, yes.
Irresponsible kids.
Yes.
Kids.
Sometimes.
So because I had 18-year-olds, a whole bunch of them, and they know nothing.
Oh, about life.
So I want you to just think about your mother being 18 years old, and you were her 3rd child?
3rd child.
3rd child. So something wasn't going right in her life.
I know that.
Because she must have had first when she was 14 or 15. Right?
And I understand
So
that.
something wasn't going right there. And nobody has a crystal ball. Very often adoptions turn out beautifully. Most often they turn out beautifully. People who want to adopt a baby really want a child very desperately, and they want to give the child a home. So if that even entered the mix of 18 years old, I got 3 children, I have no idea how I'm going to pay for tomorrow's bread, at least give my child a shot at a future. The fact that it turned out badly is a sin.
It is.
But I don't think that that sin can be visited on your mother because you know what being 18 is, being 17 and 16 and 15 and...
Nor did I ever say that I knew this dramatically because I didn't want her to hurt. I have, you know, I've known for the last 29 years that I was bought. I was not ever legally adopted. There's no legal adoption papers. And I was told from birth on that I was not loved and that I was sold to them.
Then your quasi-adopted
Right.
parents
Right.
did a terrible thing.
They did.
And
they're gone.
Then
And
they...
everybody's dead but me, so that's why you
No, they're
mother.
not.
No, Miss Jenkins, you
I'm
have
serious.
to... You have,
All these other people are all dead.
you have to understand that your daughter, even though she's 53 years old, has certain hurts.
I understand that.
And that
I
she's
hurt
had
too when I couldn't
no,
get
no,
my
no,
baby.
no. Listen to me. It's different. You're the mother. You're supposed to be the one to take care of business, even if you are 18 years old. It was your fault you got pregnant. It was your fault you had her. And she's had to deal with certain hurts her whole life. And it looks to me as if she has done a responsible turnaround, despite her unfortunate upbringing. and she's raised a family. She has a nice husband. She has nice children. And she appears to me to be a lovely lady, despite the fact that she has pain. And I think you're making a big mistake by suing her. I want to tell you that I think you're making a big mistake by suing her.
Can I say something?
Sure can.
When she first found me, she called me. I got on a plane. I went back there. I spent a month with her. And while I was there, this man came to the door. He didn't knock. He said, "Mary Lynn, I'm coming in." This is the same man she was talking about that done all these things to her. She was 28 years old then. I talked to her ex-husband that she married at 18 years old. When I talked to her husband about this, he said he didn't know anything about it, or he would not have let a child molester in his home. I asked him, how could this be? She didn't share that with her husband? She was 18 years old?
Miss Jenkins, sometimes you don't share those things with anybody.
Now she's sharing it with the whole world.
Just a second. Maybe a little therapy and maybe a little maturity allows her to do that. But I won't allow you to dismiss that, because even if over the years the facts have become blurred, your daughter felt abandoned when she found out that she was not a biological child of these people, that she had not been formally adopted. And the fact that she married somebody when she was 18 seems to suggest that there were a lot of things going on that...
And she married a man with money so that her children could go to college. I didn't do that.
Just
I'm
a second.
sorry.
Just a second.
May I?
She has not had an irresponsible life. I think you're making a mistake by suing her, but there it looks to me, look, folks, I see that I'm not going to repair this, Miss Fowler.
Can I add,
Sure.
add something? I've been silent. Yes, I've been silent. My ex-husband did not know about my abuse because I felt like I would have been dirty to him. The reason why the child molester came in my home was because he was at my grandmother's house. My biological mother was there. He came in because he wanted to renew old friendships with her. He was
That's
in and
a lie,
out.
Mary
He was
Lynn.
in and out of our home for the first 3 years of my life. He would come over and drop me off. She would babysit for me while they went out and partied. And you tell them that's
are
not
you
a
telling
lie?
me that you knew your mother?
My mother babysat for me till I was 3 years old.
In these
So-
other people's homes?
In her
They
own
brought
home. They brought me to her
my
house.
home.
So at 3 months old, you were given to another couple.
Right.
But they allowed your mother to babysit for you
Right.
until you were 3.
Years old.
Miss Fowler,
Thank you. I'm
you
sorry.
have a nice husband?
I have a wonderful husband.
You have 3 children?
Yes.
You're going to have some new grandchildren?
Yes.
Sounds to me as if everything is okay.
It is.
And you're trying to find a
Some
comfortable
closure.
path. A comfortable path for yourself. I don't think your mom's going to get there. She's not going to get there. And whether or not you can mend it, I don't know. And I don't even know whether it should be that important to you anymore. You know, you want it to be important, but I don't know if it can
Everybody
be.
wants a mom.
Yeah, but I don't know if it can be. So it seems to me as if you have somebody lovely to rely on, and you have a lovely family, and maybe it's just time to put that period. So, Miss Jenkins, I've gone over some brief figures. You're suing your daughter and your son-in-law for $3,048.38. I find that they owe you $760 on the bills, and I'm entering a judgment in your favor for $760. And if you want to cancel it, you can. That's all.
I want to
That's
cancel
up to you.
it. I want to cancel it.
Well, you want to cancel the debt? No, that's
No,
important.
I want to
You want to
cancel
cancel
this
the
court.
debt?
I want to cancel
Do you want to
this court.
cancel the debt?
No, I want
You want
the
to-
money I need to pay the credit card off.
$760 then is what you get, period.
I hope you win.
This is case number 228 on the calendar in the matter of Holbert versus Holbert. Parties have been,
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats.
Mr. Holbert, the defendant is your brother.
Yes.
It's your claim that for a period of 2 or 3 weeks you were incarcerated,
Yes.
and during that time your brother stole certain property from your house and sold it.
Yes, that's
what you-
kind of about right.
And you were in fact living with him at the time you went to jail.
He was living with me.
How long had he been living with you?
As long as I remember, about 5 years.
So he moved into your apartment?
No, it's a house. We own the house.
What do you mean we own that?
Well, I own the house, and he's my brother. He stays there with me.
What did you go to jail for?
I missed the payment on my child support.
Mr. Holbert, because I don't want anybody to think that we live in a really terrible, terrible country. Nobody goes to jail for missing one child support payment.
Okay.
You and I both know that.
Well, maybe it was more than one, but it's taken care of though now. Though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of work do you do, Mr. Hobart?
Well, I work at an auto parts store and I sell auto parts.
Is your brother employed?
No, he gets a disability.
What kind of disability?
Legally blind.
I didn't ask you. Do you know what kind of disability?
For his eye and his leg, because one leg is bigger than the other one and he's legally blind in his eyes.
Do you have any other problems?
Well, alcohol, and as far as any hardcore drugs, I don't know.
But he has an alcohol problem.
But there's a serious alcohol problem, though.
How many drinks did you have today, Mr. Hobart?
None.
How many last night?
About 4 or 5.
Did you use any substances to...
No, I don't use...
Shh. Let me finish my question. Did you use any substances today or yesterday to sort of relax you before your court appearance?
No.
Only alcohol?
Yes.
And how many hours ago did you have your last drink?
Probably about 9 o'clock last night.
Are you anxious to have one now?
Not really. I'm kind of more nervous talking to you than worrying about a drink.
That was cute.
I'm just being honest.
That was cute.
I'm being honest.
Not 100%, Mr. Hobart. There were reasons that I asked that kind of question.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Now, what makes you think your brother took your property while you were in jail?
First of all, this is my girlfriend. Her name is Natasha. And I had talked to her on the phone, and she let me know that she saw my van driving down the street. And so I told her, can she go to the house and check and see what's going on? And when she got there, she said that Tony had some people load my big screen TV on the back of a truck.
Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
Could you step up, please?
That's not true.
Shh. What did you see and when? What was the date?
The day...
Do you know the date, Mr. Hobart?
February, about between the 20th and the 22nd, something like that.
Tell me what you saw.
I saw his van just rolling down 30th Street. And then I knew it wasn't him because he was incarcerated. So I went to his house to talk to Tony about it. And when I got there, it was like 2 or 3 people loading his big screen TV up on a truck. And when I asked them what was going on, the only response I got was it wasn't my business.
Wasn't your business?
Right.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
Mr. Hobart, it's your claim that there was a burglary in the house.
Yes, it was, Your Honor.
Tell me when the burglary took place, sir.
The night that she's speaking of, I went out and I come back and somebody had broke in the house.
How did you know that?
Because the front screen was pulled open and the window was let up.
How did you know that?
Because I looked at it when I came in the house. It's right there.
So you saw it?
Yes.
In the dark?
Yes.
Your eyes
the
must
lights
be...
was the lights was on in the house.
Eyes must be good enough to be able to see that.
The lights was on in the house and you could see the screen where the window was lit up at.
Where had you been, Mr. Hobart?
I had been out with my friends for about a half an hour, riding around.
Just riding around?
Yes.
Hadn't been drinking or anything?
Yeah, a little bit.
Did you make a stop or did you drink in the car?
No, we stopped at his house for a little while. Then when you dropped me off because he had to go to work in the morning.
So you saw somebody had broken into the house. When you went inside, did you take an inventory?
I just looked around and seen my TV was gone and his big TV was
Anything
gone.
else missing?
I saw that a DVD player was missing.
His?
And a VCR was missing.
His?
Yes.
What did the police say when you called them?
I didn't call them because I was scared to call them because I had a warrant for my arrest.
For what?
For assault.
For assault?
Yeah.
Is there still an outstanding warrant for your arrest?
Nope, I got it taken care of already.
When did you have it taken care of?
About 4 or 5 months ago.
What happened?
It was only, I had to sit out a fine, that's all, and I was scared to call because I didn't want to go to jail for a $350 fine.
When did you pay the fine?
I just went and set the days out when they finally caught us driving down the street, and they pulled us over and they ran everybody's name in, and I had a warrant, so I had to go
When
to
was
jail.
this?
Back about 3 months ago.
So you just went and did your time?
4 days.
In jail?
Uh-huh.
It must have been hard. No, they don't have alcohol in jail, do they?
No.
Okay. You have any other witnesses you wish me to hear, sir?
Yes, I got the person that Tony sold the TV to.
Really?
Tony don't know.
What's the name of that person?
Michael Tatum. He's a friend of mine, and he knew something wasn't right when Tony was selling my TV, a big screen TV for like $350.
Man, what about I did not sell that your TV.
Mr. Hobart, where is the witness?
Can he come out? He's back there.
Where'd you get him?
Sure thing.
No, I didn't sell it.
Can I say something else, Your Honor?
Yeah, while he's getting him, you can.
Okay.
What about my witness?
I got pictures of the TV. I got pictures of the van. And when I come home to find out, it's like a yard sale. All my belongings up by the house. He's selling it. He's selling it.
You know you lying, man.
Mr. Hobart,
I can't even drive
I
can't even drive an automobile, period.
I want you to be quiet.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The people that bought the van changed the title over to
sold
their
the van
name.
too?
Yeah, my van had TV, DVD player in it.
Just a minute, he sold your van?
Yeah, he sold my van.
And later today,
What were you doing outside fooling around with Peaches?
We were throwing peaches at each other for fun.
Give me strength.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Paul Holbert says during a stay in jail, his brother Tony Holbert stole his belongings and sold them for liquor.
All right, could you step up here? You're Mr. Tatum, Michael Tatum?
Yes, ma'am.
Stand up here, sir. Mr. Tatum, what do you know about a large screen television set that had belonged to the plaintiff?
Tony sold it to me.
No, I didn't
When?
either, man.
I don't want to hear you yet.
The middle or close to the end of February.
Tell me about how it came about that you bought this television.
I'm always in their neighborhood, and I seen Tony outside, and he asked me that I want to buy the TV because he needed to pay the bills. And I was like, how much you want to sell it for? At first, he wanted to sell it for a little bit more, but I talked him down.
To what?
$350.
Well, let me ask you this question. You knew the television didn't belong to Tony.
No, I knew that he stayed there, and it belonged to all of them, I guess. I don't know.
And that Tony was selling it.
To pay the bills.
Okay, and who'd you give the money to?
Tony.
You still have the television?
No, I sold it.
Why?
Because it's worth more than $350. I got way more than that for it.
How much did you get for it?
I got $700
That
for
ain't
it.
fair.
All right, let's have a seat. All right, now I'm going to hear your witness.
He was with me when after the house got broken into. I went around looking to see if anybody seen anything, and I ran into him.
What's your name, sir? Be very...
Jesse Williams.
Mr. Williams, let's be very, very careful about what we testified to, sir, okay? Were you out with Mr. Holbert in the evening of either February 20th, 21st, or 22nd, driving around, drinking?
No.
And you were not there when he came home, allegedly, and found that his home had been broken into?
No.
Were you there when he made inventory of his house?
No.
So what do you know about this case?
When I seen him, he was upset. He told me that somebody had broken his house.
Where did you see him?
Well, he's walking around the neighborhood. We all live in the same area.
He was walking around, was he drunk?
Well, I mean...
What do you mean you mean? What, I don't know what that means. That's either yes or no.
He's, you know, he's Tony.
What does that mean?
I mean, he drinks all the time, you know what I'm saying?
Not all the time, I don't.
So I don't know if he's drunk or not, you know? But I seen him looking around the neighborhood, and he asked me if I see anybody carrying a TV or microwaves and stuff. And I helped him walk around and look for it. But that was it.
Do you know what date it was?
It was around maybe the 23rd.
Really? So that would have been a couple of days after this alleged burglary.
Yeah, well, all I know is he was
That there was a
telling me-
burglary in his house. That's
Yes.
what he told you.
Yes.
And you have no idea when that was in
No.
relation to when he told you that his house was burglarized.
Correct.
Perfect. Let's have a seat.
Thank you.
What was the value of the property that was taken, sir?
Well, I got a blueprint out of the van, what the value it could have been or whatever. My van had Dayton's. Here's a picture of it. It had Dayton's on it, TV, DVD player in it. I know I'll never ever get the full value of what it was worth, but it was mine and it had no business being sold.
You're absolutely right.
And I went.
But I did
tried
not
to get
sell it, though.
Can I please talk? I tried to get a duplicate title before the people that bought the van changed
Just
the
mean
title
he
over
sold
to
the
their
van
name.
too?
Yeah, but they had already changed the title over to their
Just
name.
mean he sold your van?
Yeah, he sold my van.
Man, how can I sell your van? Where I'm gonna get the keys from?
Tony, when I was gone, my van was there, my keys was there, everything was there, man. And you know it, man.
Mr. Holbert, does he still live with you?
Yeah, he stays there, but I don't stay there no more.
I thought it was a house
Because
that you owned.
No, it is my house.
Yeah.
But this is my brother, though. No matter what, he's still my brother, and I love my brother.
Mr. Holbert, stop. This was your home. You say you own this home.
Yes,
is that
I do.
right? And you allowed your brother to stay with you.
Yes.
Now you come in and tell me that your brother, while you were incarcerated for a short period of time, went behind your back, sold your van, sold your television, sold your VCR, sold
Even the
your DVD.
refrigerator, I got it. Okay.
I want you to listen to me
Okay, I'm
carefully,
sorry, I'm
sir. Sold your DVD player. Is that right?
Yes.
By the way, did you report this to the police?
No, I didn't make no, because I don't want him to go to jail.
Did you report it to the police?
No, I didn't.
You said you didn't put him out of the house. He still stays there.
He stays there by himself, and I live with Natasha, because he don't have nowhere to go. And I can't just put him outside, even though I'm, you know, all my valuables is gone, but he's still my brother, though.
Where do you expect him to get this money from that you're suing him for?
Actually,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but it sounds to me like you forgave him. Because if
No,
he's
I
living in
never
your
forgave
house,
him.
if he's living in your house, and if you didn't throw him out and say, go find yourself a room someplace, and it sounds to me like you forgave him.
Okay, but at the same time, he said, you know, well, give me like 2 months or whatever, and I'll have my own place.
So?
And the 2 months done escalated on.
Well, why don't you put him out?
And I can't do that.
You can do that.
Yes.
You should do that. But this happened last February, right? And you haven't done that.
Nope.
Right?
He did.
So what do you want from me? If you said to me, I put him out immediately, because how dare he go behind my back after I... He did?
Yes, he did.
So where are you living?
He put me out for 3 months, and then I finally, my mom had to talk to him, and then he finally let me stay there.
So he put you out for 3 months?
Yeah, 3 to 4 months.
Is that right?
After when I came home, I found out what happened. We got into an argument or whatever. He said he was leaving.
You put me out for 3 months, man. And then Mama finally told me to...
Just a second. Did your mother... Listen to me, Mr. Hobart. I want you to be honest.
I recommended that he leave, but...
Shh. I want you to be honest, because you don't know what I'm thinking.
Okay.
So if you're going to try to think what I'm thinking, you're not going to be successful. Do you understand? You put him out for a period of time because of what happened. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then did your mother convince you to let him move back in?
Well, she was asking about it because he said he didn't have no place to stay.
Why couldn't he stay with your mother?
He didn't want her because they both are alcoholics, and when they get drunk, they ready to fight. I'm keeping it real. They fight. When they get drunk, they call me.
We don't fist fight. We don't physically
Man,
fight.
I got witnesses right here to tell y'all argue all day, all night.
Mr. Hobart.
We don't physically fight. I'm not gonna sit over here and say I fight my mom. We argue. We don't hit each other. We argue. There's a difference.
What's your first name?
Tony.
Shh. Quiet. Don't talk again. Mr. Hobart, I think you're entitled to your judgment, because I absolutely believe that he stole your property. If you had told me that you let him stay in the house afterwards, I would say, listen, it's a family matter. You handled it family-wise. But you did put him out, which was the right thing to do. There has to be some consequence to what he did, even if it's just being uncomfortable for a couple of months. But I feel sorry for you, because I have this sense that your mother prevailed upon you to take him back, because she couldn't live with him, because she's got her own troubles. Sounds to me like you might be the only normal one in the bunch. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount requested, which is a minimal amount, $2,400. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Probably his girlfriend or somebody took it. I don't know. I know I did.
It just hurt me a lot that my brother would do me like that.
I still love my brother.
I still love my brother. That's my brother. He always gonna be my brother. That's my oldest brother. There we go.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hoffman versus Birchfield. Step forward, please.
Grad student David Hoffman is suing his neighbor, demolition man Vincent Birchfield, and his wife Tara. David says Vincent's 14-year-old twins, Vincent Jr. and James, dented his car during a peach fight.
All right, Mr. Hoffman, it is your claim that the defendant's sons were fooling around and having a peach fight, which is throwing peaches at each other. And one of the peaches hit your car, causing a dent. You want the defendants to pay for that. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you neighbors?
Yes, we are.
Okay, and how old are these two boys? How old are you?
14.
It was good. They said that both together. Why don't you have a seat? You sit down. Yeah, get them up. Where do you expect to sit on your lap? Get over here. Give me strength. Used to be worried. What did you want to be? An engineer, doctor, a lawyer, a dentist, right? Right. Now you know what you're asking? Whether you want to be 15. What were you doing outside fooling around with peaches?
We were throwing peaches at each other.
Why?
Because we went outside and started throwing peaches at each other in front of our house.
Why?
For fun.
And where did you get the peaches from?
Peach tree.
Where was the peach tree?
In front of the building next to us.
Who did the peach tree belong to?
The owner of the building in front of us.
So you stole peaches from somebody?
No, he said we can have peaches whenever we'd like them.
To eat?
To eat or throw.
To throw?
Yeah.
You think you're a wise guy? Let me tell you something. 25 years from now, where do you think you're going to be?
On a job.
Let's hope so. So let's not be a wise guy, okay? If somebody was nice enough to say to you, look, I have a peach tree, whenever you want a peach, go and take it, they meant for you to take it when you wanted something to eat, not for you to act like a moron and take them off the tree and throw them at each other. That be a fair statement, that that's what the person intended when they were being nice to you?
Yeah.
Try yes.
Yes.
Or certainly you won't be an English teacher in 25 years. Were you throwing peaches too?
Yes. My brother didn't throw any. I never threw any peaches at him. I was the one throwing them at him.
And what was he doing? He was trying
Running.
to catch them?
No, he was running away from them.
Were they ripe peaches?
No.
So they were hard peaches?
Yes.
How many peaches did you throw at your brother?
I threw about 3.
And who else was throwing peaches?
My friend David and Mason.
And was it at your suggestion that you go out and take the peaches?
Yes.
All right, so that fair statement is, under the law, you are responsible for their actions since you clearly got permission to take the peaches and you gave someone else the permission to take the peaches and throw them. And you say that one of those peaches hit your car, causing a dent.
Yes,
Did you
Your Honor.
see it?
Yes, I did.
You did?
I saw it occur.
Which boy did you see throw a peach?
They're twins, and it was difficult to tell, but I know one of these two.
They look different to me.
Well, they were, as my pictures depict, I was looking out my front window. When I heard a noise hitting the roof in my backyard, a carport, made a loud noise, my dogs alerted. I then went to the front window upstairs immediately, and I saw the peach fight in progress on the four corners.
Peach fight?
Peach fight. It was pretty intense. I mean, they were ducking behind cars, they were up in the neighbor's yard, up on his hill, behind his tree. I mean, it was crossfire going everywhere. So I saw peaches hit my car, and when I came downstairs, got dressed, came out to my gate, they were gone.
Oh, what is this picture of?
That's the dent from the peach.
You want to say something?
I'll wait my turn, ma'am.
You may not have one.
Well, I'd like to say a lot of things, and that's not what he showed us where the dent was. He showed us a different car and a dent in his door on his car.
Really?
Yeah, I'd like to depict a few things. May I get up and talk?
Why don't you talk to your sons about how stupid they were?
Well, Your Honor.
Why, just a minute. Did you talk to your sons about how stupid they were?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good.
But, Your Honor.
I didn't ask you another
Well,
question.
he's
When I
leaving a lot of
asked you
things
another
out.
question, you weren't there.
Well, Your Honor, I came home.
Just answer my question. You were there or you weren't there?
Yeah, I was there.
You're a liar.
No, I was there after the peach fight and I came home. Yeah, I was there and seen what happened.
Just a second.
I was there and my kids aren't stupid.
The peach don't fall far from the tree.
That's fine, Your Honor. Touche, you know, whatever you got to say, but if you don't want to
I'm
let me
going to
talk...
say it because if I say to you, sir, were you present when this happened? And
The
you say
incident,
yes and you
yes.
weren't.
The whole incident, I have been present in some of the incidents, some of the things that happened, yes.
Get him
when
out
I
of here.
came home.
Get him out of here, please.
No problem.
Are you the mother?
I'm his wife.
You guys,
Are
let's
you
go,
the
boys.
mother of these
We're out
children?
Here.
No.
We're out here.
You are not?
No.
Judgment for the plaintiff and the amount requested because he's taking his children out of here. There's no question in my mind they caused the damage. Judgment for the plaintiff
Your
for the
Honor.
amount of $1,408. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This is case number 164 on the calendar in the matter of Safford versus Daniels.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Safford, the defendant is your child's maternal grandmother.
Yes, ma'am.
And your lawsuit claims that she had had custody of this child for a while, and then you were ultimately awarded custody of your daughter.
Yes,
And you claim an overpayment of child support.
correct.
Ms. Daniels says that while you may have had physical custody of the child during that period, she actually had legal custody by a court order. Is that right?
Yes.
And
that's
therefore
right.
she is entitled to the support. Is that your defense?
That's my defense.
Your complaint was rather sketchy, Mr. Stafford, but from what I gather, you had a relationship with the defendant's daughter. Is this your daughter?
Yes, ma'am.
And the child was born, and you claim that you were told that you were not the child's father. Is that right?
That's correct.
Who told you you were not the child's father?
The social worker at the clinic there, the hospital where she was born.
When were you advised you were not the child's father?
The date of birth, I was present.
Is your name listed on the birth certificate?
No, it isn't.
Is someone else's name listed on the birth certificate?
Yes, after I had hired a lawyer, found out that the defendant's daughter was married. She never told me.
So there is another man's name as the father of the child on the birth certificate?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor.
Yes.
He's not telling the truth. He knew my daughter was married. We're cousins. And he didn't want it.
Okay. Did you advise the plaintiff that he may not have been the father of this child?
No. He was living with her when she got pregnant.
That doesn't necessarily mean anything.
No, but he knew he was the father. My daughter told him. When he was present at birth, my daughter stated to him to sign the birth certificate.
Ma'am, that's
he
not
wouldn't
true.
put his name on it.
That's not true.
You weren't there.
No, I wasn't, but
You
my
weren't
daughter
there.
is here. She
You
can
weren't
tell you.
there.
She refused to be there. She didn't want nothing to do with her daughter at the time when she
What
was giving
happened
birth.
when the baby
That's
was
not
born, sir?
true.
Because this is important.
What happened when Vendela was born was that she was placed in a foster home.
No, at the time of her birth.
Yes.
You were in the hospital when she was born.
Yes.
So at that point, you thought you were the child's father.
Yes, I was under the impression that we both were going to take a paternity test. The social worker came back and told me that Deirdre stated that I'm not the father of Vendela. And she said that the father's been named. I said, well, that's...
Don't speak because you weren't there.
My daughter
Don't speak because you weren't there. And your daughter was on drugs at the time?
No, she wasn't.
This child was born with traces of cocaine in her system?
Negative.
So why was the child placed in foster care?
Because of her past history, which I had no idea to the extent that it is.
You mean past drug history?
Yes.
And that's why the child was removed?
Correct.
You can stand up with your mother if you want to. At what point, sir, were you advised that you were the father of this child?
We took a genetic marker and paternity test.
When?
In 99 of March.
When was your child born?
1/28/98.
Between January 28th of 1998 and March of 1999, had you seen this child?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
I didn't have no contact with the mother or the family after being told I wasn't the father.
And it was who that told you you were? Was it the social worker or was it the mother of the child?
The grandmother came into the picture probably 9 months later, subpoenaed me to court for paternity.
In 1998, you were told that someone else's name had been placed on the birth certificate.
Yes, ma'am.
Whose name was on the birth certificate?
It's my husband, which was separated. But he and I were engaged, and I was in the process of getting divorced.
There was no engagement.
Just a second.
There was no ring involved. There
Just
was
a
none of
second.
that.
Somebody else's name was placed on the birth certificate at the time the child was born.
Because I was still married, and they have to do that in the state of Massachusetts.
No, she lied.
1998, the defendant summoned you to court. Is that right?
It was fall of 98.
Took the paternity test in March of 99, and the results of that test established that you were the child's father.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you initiate custody proceedings?
It was August 4th of 99 that the adjudication was supposed to have been heard. For some reason, I have no idea, it went on for, I believe, 7 months until I was adjudicated. I have the document here that was signed by both myself, the lawyer, and the defendant, the grandmother who was guarantee relative of Vendel at the time.
Okay, at the time, the child was ultimately taken out of foster care and placed in the care of her grandmother.
Correct.
You have other children of this daughter, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
How many other children?
2, but I only have 1 now.
Why, she's taking one back?
No, she went to live with the father.
Did the grandmother consent to your having custody of the child?
There was a court hearing. She had no say in it because I was not mentally impaired or no drugs or anything like that.
How's your daughter doing now?
She's doing fine. I'm happy that I have her and that she's out of the environment that she's in. She's doing a lot better than she was.
Okay, when did you take physical custody of the child?
That was March 9th of 2000.
And how much child support were you paying that time?
It was $200 a week.
And when you were ultimately called to court, that was in 99, and they made a paternity order. They made a retroactive order so that you had to pay several $1,000s to the defendant.
Correct.
And you did, in fact, pay that.
Yes, that was satisfied.
How many weeks after you obtained custody of the child did the money continue to come out of your check?
Your Honor, why you look for that? Could I tell you?
Just a minute. Wait a second. I'll get to your side. Okay. I promise you.
A little over a month and a half.
So if you had custody for 7 weeks, that comes to $1,400. Okay, now it's up to you, Miss Daniels. Talk to me.
Okay, back referring to when he said he was supposed to take custody in 1999, it was because he didn't want to have nothing to do with her. We went to court and we signed this paper, and he was supposed to take custody. He made no attempt to get a place to put her, no attempt to help pay for her living expense. He gave me nothing. And then he tell you that he don't know why. It's because he didn't want nothing to do with the baby. That's why he didn't take it in 1999. And I have this paper proving he signed it, and he's supposed to take custody of it. But he didn't because he didn't want to have nothing to do with her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He pretended to be my friend and cared about me, and then we fell in love. He wanted a child. Then I had a drug relapse. I came to him and told him. He left me pregnant.
And later today,
you say he gave you the ring on May 8th. He says he gave it to you on April 1st. And you say that you hadn't seen the ring before.
Yes.
Baloney!
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Christopher Safford says his daughter's maternal grandmother, Linda Daniels, owes for the return of child support.
Listen, your daughter created this problem.
Yes.
And I'm going to explain how your daughter created this problem. She was married to somebody else at the time she gave birth to this child.
True.
Which means, according to her, they must put his name on the birth certificate, that her husband. That's not always true. Doesn't have to put it down if she says he's not the father. He could be legally compelled to support the child until somebody else gets on the hook for support. However, she created this problem because she cannot, well, just pay attention. If this child went on welfare, welfare wouldn't know who to sue for the support. Do you sue the father who's on the birth certificate, or do you sue this man who hasn't been adjudicated the father? I mean, he's had the child now for a considerable period of time. The court would not have given him the child if he was unfit to have the child.
The court didn't give him the child at the time he took him.
We gave her after that.
Ma'am, if I may.
No, you don't have to. She's talking to me now.
Go ahead.
Can I speak?
Go ahead.
This situation, I admit, this situation is my fault. But with my kids, the reason my kids are there with them, it's because I put them there. I've maintained a job and security, but I was not stable enough. And with him, he came to my family. We're cousins. He told my mom he was going to help me. He pretended to be my friend and cared about me, and then we fell in love, and he knew I was married, and then we got engaged. My mom had problems. She told him to stay away from me. He wanted a child. Then I had a drug relapse because I got clean. I had a drug relapse. I came to him and told him. He left me pregnant. I put myself in the hospital. That's why my baby wasn't born with drugs in her system.
It's not true.
I put my baby in the hospital so she would be clean.
My daughter,
I put my kids with my mom.
My daughter suffered from bipolar. I told Chris this.
And they took me off
She
all
had
medication.
a drug problem. I told Chris
and that's
that
how
too.
I relapsed.
But he was working with social people. He said the people that had drug problems, that he could help her.
I
helped her
never
all
worked with people with
yes,
drug problems.
Yes, you did.
Well, listen,
that's what you
I didn't
told
know what
me.
I'd done for work.
You told me that.
Stop talking to each other. Listen to me. Listen to me. If he had physical custody of this child for a period of 7 weeks, you had no right to receive the support for the child. Whether you had, I don't care whether he took her or not. The court left her with him. She's not.
He had custody. He kidnapped
I
the child.
don't care.
He took her.
I don't care. The money, listen to me, the money is supposed to go for the support of the child. If he's giving her money, that means he has less money to support the child with. It's not her money, it's the child's money.
I didn't take it from myself.
That was money owed to her.
Ma'am,
No.
She's a kept baby in the state of Massachusetts.
No. Listen
you
to me.
cannot get welfare with a family kept baby.
Listen to me
And he
very
owed her.
carefully. For the first several months of this child's life, the child was in foster care.
Yes.
2 years she had her with no money.
She didn't
Just
have
a
it for
minute.
2 years.
Then
Yes, I
there
did.
was a lump sum paid. Both parties acknowledged that there was a lump sum paid at
Yes.
the time when he was finally adjudicated the father.
Yes.
It should have went to the state.
No, it shouldn't have.
Several $1,000s. What I'm saying to you is this money, while the child was in his custody, that you got from his check, should have taken that money and said, here, make sure the baby has this money. Because I'm not supposed to have it. It's not supposed to help defray my costs, my rent, my gas, it's supposed to go for the baby. So you owe him $1,400 and pay him. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm upset because my mom,
He is a liar.
my mom got, she took care of my kids.
Clearly, all the allegations are not true.
He wouldn't even be a man and take his daughter when we called and told him to please come get her.
As far as me taking care of my daughter, I've been doing that from day one since she gave her up.
He's put my mom through this and no one's getting hurt but our daughter.
It was clearly money motivated.
I'm not hurt. He's hurting the baby, not me.
It's clearly a mother taking control of her own daughter's life.
He left me pregnant with my baby.
I told you to leave him alone.
People like this need to be exposed.
Plus, he's cousin. You don't mess with your cousin.
When people like this come into court and clog the system up using our tax dollars and make a mockery out of it, that shouldn't be done.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of DeQuilla versus Roden, step forward, please.
20-year-old retail manager John DeQuilla is suing his ex-fiancée, 20-year-old assistant office manager Dawn Roden, for the return of an engagement ring. Dawn says they were never engaged.
Mr. DeQuilla, you are suing for the return of an engagement ring that you claim that you gave to the defendant.
Yes.
Let me hear about it.
Well, Dawn and I were originally together back in September of '99, and we were together until September 17th of 2000. She had gotten married after that, and she was having marital problems around the time of March of 2002, and she came to me. We talked, we were friends for a while. We started seeing each other again March 24th of 2002, and around the time about April 1st, I had proposed to her, and she
was still married at the time.
Yeah, she was. She was going through a divorce.
She wasn't living with her husband.
No, she was not. She was separated. She was living with her grandparents in Lynbrook. I proposed to her. She had accepted. The next day, we had gone to look at rings. We were just going to look, and she eventually talked me into getting an engagement ring. And I purchased the engagement ring and gave it to her that day.
On April 1st?
Yes.
Go ahead.
We were together for about almost 2 months. I was making plans on moving in. I was helping clean up the basement, get everything set up so we can move together. She was going through her custody battle. And I'd say about second week in May, we'd gotten into a fight. She did throw the ring into my face, and I gave it back to another friend of hers. They called me back about 10 minutes later. They picked me up. We went out. By the end of the night, everything was fine. She had the ring on her finger again, and everything was, we were fine. Not too long afterwards, I'd gotten a text message saying, don't take this the wrong way. Don't call me. I'll call you. I need some time to think. I gave her about a day or so. I called her back. She said she wanted to see other people. I said, I'll live with her decision. I just wanted my ring back then. And we made an agreement that on our next class, she was going to give me the ring back.
What kind of class?
It was for financial services that we were doing for our licenses.
You were taking this class together?
Yes. We were business partners at the time. And first time she said that she had forgotten the ring. So I said, just bring it to me on our next meeting. And the day that meeting came, she never came. I called her cell phone. Her friend Janine had picked up the phone, said that Dawn was not there. I got a call later back that night saying that the ring was stolen along with her friend's car.
Where did you get the call from?
Dawn. Dawn called me back later that night.
That the ring was stolen?
Yes.
How was it stolen?
The ring was never stolen, Your Honor. There was no ring. Me and my husband had gotten separated. Me and John did remain friends, and that was around March 16th was the day I had separated from my husband. On May 8th, it was a Wednesday night, me and my friend, we went to the meeting in Lindenhurst where he had another one of his friends with him.
What kind of meeting?
It was the meeting for the financial services. It was one of those meetings. We had went back to his house, and he had to drop his friends off at the mall, so we all met back at his house. He then told me that he was going to hang out with us, and then all of a sudden he was saying that he was tired, and I'm like, oh, okay, you're tired, whatever, go inside. And he was like, oh, okay. He's like, but first, before I go inside, I want to show you something.
And what date was this?
This was on May 8th.
Go ahead.
He then proceeded to take a box out and hand me a ring. I said, what is this? He's like, I want to marry you. And I said, how can I marry you when I'm not even divorced yet? I was still very upset that me and my husband were separated. And I then threw the ring at him right after I had made a 911 call because he would not get out of my car. And my friend and I both heard the ring fall off of his chest where it had landed and hit the ground.
Because you were wearing it later that night, though. That's the odd part.
And after the fact of that, we eventually talked. I hadn't seen him with the ring the rest of the night. And we went to the karaoke bar backstage, which is located in Woodmere, New York. He then pulled my friend Janine aside, and he had told her everything that happened and how he couldn't find the ring.
Do you have the sales slip for the ring?
Yes, I do.
May I see it, please? So you say that he gave you this ring on May 8th.
Yes.
He says he gave you the ring on April 1st.
Yes, and we called
Just a second. Okay. Well, he certainly bought it on April 1st.
May I say one other thing?
Yes.
I have also, we did a financial needs analysis for the company that we do work for, and it is a custom thing to do it. Most engaged or married couples will do it, and we did it. It has both of our names on it, and the date of which this is done and the ring is one of the debts. Her Social Security number is inside of it, and it's needed through her.
Did you fill out this report with him?
Yes, I did. We were going to become business partners.
I asked you whether you filled this out with him.
Yes.
Because it has your information on it.
Yes.
You know what date you filled it out?
I honestly do not.
May 1st. And you say that you threw a ring back at him that he gave you on May 8th.
Yes.
That you hadn't seen the ring before.
Yes.
Baloney! Madam, this lists the debt on the ring. Current debt, ring, $1,000, and the payment on the ring. You want to explain that to me, Miss Roden?
At the time that I filled it out, he only asked me my information. I was sitting in the other room with his mother and his aunt who was over at the time. The rest of the information he filled out by himself. I was not sitting at the table with him when he filled out that information.
So what? You say he gave you the ring on May 8th. He says he gave it to you on April 1st. So what you're suggesting is that he held on to the ring for 5.5 weeks before he gave it to you, right?
Yes.
And then you filled out this application together showing your income, showing your liabilities and everything else, and you knew nothing about the fact that he put in ring monthly bills.
Exactly.
Did you sign this thing? Did you sign it?
On the back of it, yes, I did. I did not.
Get out of here. I don't care whether you lost it, whether you stole it, you're full of baloney. He paid $1,149.55 for the ring. That's what you owe him. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Yeah, this is case number 295 on the calendar in the matter of Mergner versus Fickett. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Miss Mergner, you were at a party, and it is your claim that the defendant, while acting like a complete imbecile, started to hit golf balls off the hood of your car because somebody had said something to him that offended him. And he caused over $2,000 worth of damage to the roof of your car. Mr. Fickett says he did no such thing, and the only reason that you're suing him is probably because you were in some way infatuated with him, as all women are. And when you found out that he had a girlfriend, you probably got angry or something like that, right?
Something like that, Your Honor, yes.
Did you know him before this party?
No, I don't.
Who saw him on top of the car?
My witness, Joe Moore.
And I have the witness up here. Tell me your name, sir.
Joe Moore.
Mr. Moore, on what date was this party?
May 20-something. I'm not sure the exact date.
Where was it?
Tucson, Arizona, Grant and Silver Barrel.
At a friend's house?
Yes, ma'am.
What's the name of the friend?
Sean.
Don't look like a deer in headlights, sir. I'm not going to attack you. I'm just asking you some preliminary questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, how many people were at this party?
30 at the most. Or a lot more than 30.
And was, don't speak until I speak to you. Was the defendant one of those people?
Yes, ma'am.
The plaintiff says that you actually observed the defendant doing something in or around or on her car.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what you saw.
I saw the defendant standing on top of the car and kind of give a little jump as to indent the roof of the car. This is ridiculous, Your Honor. He has nothing to go on this.
I don't want you to speak. What word didn't you understand when I said it nicely before?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
I saw him do that and then proceed to like drop a golf ball and take the club and just start hitting a couple of golf balls after.
And then what did you do?
I turned around and I walked back in the house. I found my friend Shane, and I said, there's some guy outside jumping up and down on somebody's car, hitting golf balls off the top of the car with your golf clubs. So you might want to call the cops. You might want to come out here and check this out. And then
the police arrive?
No, ma'am. The police never arrived that night.
Who told you that something had happened to your car? Or did anybody?
Not until after the fact. He had already left. He basically wrecked the party. And my boyfriend had just graduated. It was his graduation party from the University of Arizona. So he decides to show up wearing an Arizona State hat. And
I don't care about that. I read that somebody was wearing the wrong kind of, he was wearing the wrong kind of hat. Somebody called him a jerk.
This is silly, Your Honor. This is what it's all about.
You're the...
Shh. Listen to me. When did you actually see the damage to your car?
Not until after he left, probably 2 in the morning.
Exactly.
Let me see the estimate for the damage.
This is the estimate.
Mr. Fickett, 2 times I've told you not to speak until I get to your side, which I believe I have assured you that...
I'm just shocked to hear all this. This is so ridiculous. Like, I can't believe she's like actually saying this. She has nothing to go on, no proof.
My mouth is running. When my mouth is running, yours doesn't run.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm going to say it one more time, and I'm going to try to say it as tastefully and with as much judicial temperament as I can muster. Keep your mouth shut until I talk to you. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You have pictures of the car?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Looks like hail damage, Your Honor.
I assume what I'm looking at in some of these pictures are a footprint.
Yes. His footprints were all over.
Okay, now I'll hear you, Mr. Fickett.
All right, I went to this party. The only reason I went to this party was because my friend Nick, who wrestles at ASU, was visiting. And we went to the party, me and my girlfriend Kim here, went to the party just to hang out with him. We were having a casual discussion outside, me and my friend Nick. And from what she tells me, there were like a group of girls, maybe her friends, maybe someone didn't like her, maybe someone didn't like me.
I don't know for what reason. There were a group of girls, like, just whispering and gossiping, like in the corner. She knows more about that than me. I was just hanging out. We were there maybe for an hour, hour and a half. It was graduation night at U of A. There were like 3 parties on the street. I wasn't even drinking. I mean, they were probably drunk as all hell being graduation. The reason I wasn't drinking was because I had a wrestling match the next morning. I fight professionally, and I'm known to be like rumored about to be like this big tough guy that causes all this trouble, and it's just a reputation that beholds me that isn't true, and this is just another jealous person or angry person that just wants to blame stuff on me, either because her car's really damaged, I don't know, or maybe she has something against me or my girlfriend.
She doesn't have anything against you.
Well, she has something against me if she wants to make this stuff up and bring me to court for
Mr.
it.
Fickett. Pay careful attention to me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
She doesn't have anything against you. She doesn't have anything against your girlfriend. She didn't see you do any damage to her car. She didn't tell the police she saw you do any damage to her car. She didn't tell me that she saw you do any damage to her car. He saw you do damage to her car. He doesn't want to date you. We don't want to blame the wrong person, do we?
No, ma'am.
You want to blame somebody, blame Mr. Moore. Maybe he's jealous of you.
Any which way, she's coming up with a false witness to come up with her case.
No. She goes outside and she finds that her car has been damaged. She says, who damaged my car?
Well, if it was so urgent,
He
why weren't the cops there that night? Why didn't she call the cops that night? Why is my name not in the police report? I mean,
Just a second. They did call the police. But from what you tell me, sir, it was graduation night. The police were probably very, very busy and not swift to respond to some fool standing on top of a car hitting golf balls off somebody's roof. They had other things to worry about, so they didn't show up.
I arrived at the party.
It is clear to me that somebody was on the hood of this car. It is clear to me that somebody took a flying leap while they were on this car. And what I would try to figure out, Mr. Fickett, is why Mr. Moore would lie to me about having seen you do that. Did you have any prior relationship with him? Did you have any
I don't know
prior
these
problem
people.
with
I was
him?
at the party because of a friend of a friend.
Okay, so you don't, just a second. So you don't know him, is that right? You don't know him at all?
No.
Why in the world would somebody make up a story like that about you?
Because it's petty girls crying about someone damaging their car, and they need someone to blame.
So they blamed you?
I guess. Maybe they don't like Arizona State beats me.
Step up, young lady.
I was
your
there.
name?
My name's Kim.
Okay, Kim.
And I was there with him the whole night. This is kind of almost funny to us. When you pull into the street, when we first pulled into the street of where the party was going on, we had no idea where it was because, like he said, there was three parties. I mean, it's a big street. We had to park like 2 streets down. There was tons of cars, tons of people walking around all over the place.
Get to the point.
Anybody could have done this. When he stands up here and gives like an oath, like, I'm sorry, but my dad's a minister. I don't know if you're religious, but that's like not cool. You don't stand up here because I was with him the whole night. The whole night. I stayed with him. I sat outside. Excuse me, I'm talking. I sat outside. I was talking to, I had seen a girlfriend of mine that I used to work with. He's talking to Nick. I'm talking to my girlfriend. An hour later, I go, I got a sociology class in the morning. You got a wrestling tournament. We better go. We hopped in the car. We said goodbye to everybody. And we left. The only person that we knew there was Nick and this girl that I had just seen there. And, you know, I mean, there was so many people there and there was so many parties going on at any time that I just can't comprehend how this guy is saying this. I was with him the whole night. I was by his side. I walked in the house at one point to go to the bathroom. And when he says 30 people, 70, if not more, when I walked in.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lovely young lady. Well, I have to make a judgment as to why Mr. Moore here would make up a story about having seen you cause the damage to the plaintiff's car. Now, I can understand why your girlfriend would tell me that you were together all evening, which isn't even true according to her, because she did go inside for a while to go to the bathroom. Probably was inside at least 10 minutes, because it takes that much time to get through 70 people to find out where the bathroom is and to get out. She wasn't with you the entire evening. The estimated damage is some $2,000 on this car. And it's not a new car, it's
new to me, though.
I understand that. How much did you pay for it?
Roughly $5,000.
What do you mean, roughly $5,000?
Because my mom gave it to me. It was originally her car.
So it
was
has low mileage on
originally
it.
her car, and your mother gave it to you as a
Yes,
gift.
because I'm going to school and I need a car.
Terrific. And this damage that was done to the car doesn't affect its drivability.
No, but I have to look at it every day and be reminded
Of course you
him.
do. And I'm sure that if I award you
Okay.
$2,000, you're going to find a way to have it fixed for that $2,000. So that's what I'm awarding you. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He likes to pick fights with people, and that's what he likes to do, and that's why he obviously wasn't invited. We don't associate with people like him.
They don't have anything better to do. They can't sit down and have a conversation like we were doing the whole night. They have to, yeah, dude, where's the pie of beer?
Everyone I talk to says he's psycho.
I've had jealous gossip about me before, and I just thought this was one of those cases. We found the golf club later, but it was broken in half at that point, so.
He fights in the Rage in the Cage circuit. That's number one reason why he's so well known, and that's why people think he's so crazy.
University of Arizona is the way to go.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Mullendor versus Mayfield. Step forward, please.
21-year-old baker Janelle Mullendor is suing her ex-boyfriend's girlfriend, 21-year-old homemaker Melinda Mayfield, for smashing out her car windows. Melinda is countersuing, claiming Janelle trashed her apartment.
Miss Mullendor, you and the defendant have a boyfriend in common, and one of you has a child with him. Which one has the child?
I have a child with Christopher.
Where's Christopher?
He is at work.
What kind of work does Christopher do?
He's a furniture salesman and he moves furniture.
Invisible as he should be. In any event, Miss Mullendor, is your claim that the defendant vandalized your car?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, she was arrested for vandalizing your car.
Yes.
And you went to some sort of a mediation, a criminal mediation?
Yes.
And at the mediation, you promised to do something. What did you promise to do, Miss Mayfield?
I agreed that I would pay Janelle back for the balance owed on her windows that she had to pay. And in the same note, she agreed that she would stay out of my life, out of Christopher's life, and out of our son's life. Leave us alone. And
Okay, now I assume that that was reduced to a writing.
Yes.
Can I see it, please? Because suffice it to say that the payment for the window was never made, and you have a defense to that. So let me see what you agreed to.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Out!
I was a witness to it.
Did you hear what I said to you? Out!
Did you want me to leave?
Yes. What does out mean?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Janelle Mullendor says her ex-boyfriend's girlfriend, Melinda Mayfield, smashed out her car windows and refuses to pay. Melinda says Janelle won't stay out of her life.
Did you do community service?
No.
They call you Mindy?
Yeah, that's my name.
Yeah. Why didn't you do community service?
I had spoken to the woman a few times, and she said they had a list that they were going to mail out to me of places to call on community service, and they never did. And you know,
so you just didn't do that, and you didn't pay her the $520 that you agreed to pay her.
Nope. I have pictures.
Just a second. Don't need any pictures. She said she went through a mediation. Instead of getting arrested, having a record, she agreed to pay for the windows and apologized for breaking them. That's what it says here. So she didn't do community service, and she didn't pay the $520. You didn't have to show me anything. When did you break the windows? And don't tell me I didn't break the windows.
Well, I did not break the windows.
Okay, you did break the windows. When did you break the windows?
She broke them on the November 20th of '01.
Tell me the circumstances for breaking the windows.
She came over to Christopher's apartment, which I was there. We were not allowing her into the apartment because she was very angry. And she banged on the door and she said if I didn't come out, she was going to break all my windows out in my car. And I was like, Christopher, you need to go out there and talk to her. This is your business. Well, she went and got the tire iron out of her car, and she broke out my front windshield, my side windshield, and my back windshield.
And you saw her do that?
Yes.
Okay.
I was not there. I was at my brother's house with
I don't believe him. I don't believe you. Now, let's go for it. It doesn't make any difference. You agreed to pay for the windows.
So she would stay away from me
for the
and my
windows.
son.
You
and
didn't
my
pay for the
boyfriend.
windows. Now you give me the defense.
The reason I did not pay, because in this agreement, she strictly said she was not going to come around me, my child, or my boyfriend. She said she was going to stay out of her life. She asked for some property that was in the apartment, which I did not know whether or not any of it was hers. I asked Christopher. He said yes, that some of it was, not all of it. We agreed to make a time with her to come give her the things. On Saturday...
So now Christopher's gone back to you?
Yes.
So from being with her, he decided to go back to you?
We've been together since the baby was born.
Was the baby born in November?
January 1st, 2000.
Oh, okay. So while you were pregnant, he was with her.
Right.
And then after the baby was born, he came back to you.
Right.
The prize, who's selling furniture someplace. Okay, so now he's back living with you.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So March 23rd, 3 days after our mediation, me and my brother went to my apartment to pick up laundry. Shanda met us over there. Whenever I got there, my door was unlocked. I went inside. My entire apartment was ransacked and trashed. Pictures of me and Christopher holding our son for the first time were demolished, smashed, ripped, torn. And when I spoke to the lady about the mediation, she said that...
what does that have to do with you paying the $520?
The things missing were the things she asked for in the agreement. She obviously didn't stay away. She broke in. She refuses to get out of his life. She lives with his brother. She calls, harasses. She comes by, drives by our house repeatedly.
You choose to have a baby with a loser. That's your problem. You get involved with and that makes you a loser. Hopefully, you'll grow up so that your child won't be a loser.
My child's
but right now, oh yeah, raised by two losers. Unless you wisen up. Somebody who lives with one woman while he's impregnated another woman.
She didn't live with him.
Just a minute. Hangs around with her while he's got a pregnant lady who's due to deliver in about 3 months and then says, well, now I'm going to go live with her, and doesn't have the moral fortitude to come to court with either one of them because he had to work selling his furniture, or was he running IBM? I'm not sure which one you told me, right? That person is a loser. Now, you made an agreement which would keep you from having a record, and that was that you were going to pay for her windows. That's what you do. And if you believe that she was responsible for burglarizing your apartment and for vandalizing your apartment, you call and you make a police report, and if they find her prints there, then they will arrest her. But you don't take it upon yourself to say, listen, I think she's the one who broke into my apartment.
I know she is. She took everything that she wanted.
Pay attention.
She has no proof she busted out the windows either.
Get out. Get out. This is not a dance party.
I'm sorry.
Get out. Out.
I was a witness to it.
Did you hear what I said to you? Out.
Did you want me to leave?
Yes. What does out mean?
I'm sorry about that.
Just out. Out is out. Bottom line, you make an agreement with the criminal justice system. You abide by that decision. And if you feel as if she's breached the decision, you don't resort to self-help and say, I don't have to keep my end of the bargain.
This is what the mediators told me. They said...
Listen to me.
Okay, I'm listening.
Tell me what the mediators told you. These are the same mediators who didn't send you a list of places to go to do your community service. Everybody's screwing up except you. Yep. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $520. That's
Hello, I have a claim.
This is case number 303 on the calendar in the matter of Macklin versus Nave. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats.
Mr. Macklin, it is your claim that the defendant bit off your ear, or a good piece of it.
Yes.
During the course of an assault.
Correct.
The defendant says he was defending not only himself, but really his sister when this incident took place. Is that right?
Yes.
So let me try to put this into context as I understand your complaint. Mr. Macklin, you were having a get-together, a party at your house with some friends and acquaintances. Among the people that were there, according to what you tell me in your complaint, was the defendant's sister.
Correct.
Someone who you knew casually. So far, am I correct?
Correct.
Is this the sister?
Yes, it is.
At some point during the evening, according to you, this gentleman appeared at your door. You asked him what he wanted. He said who he was, and he said, I'm here to pick up my sister. And you told him to get out.
Correct.
And sometime later, this altercation took place.
Yes.
You also tell me in your complaint, sir, that you had noticed some shenanigans going on with some men going into the bathroom with the defendant's sister. You didn't know what was going on in there, but I assume that you thought it was something of a sexual nature. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, I am assuming that you saw that before he came to pick his sister up.
Yes.
Why did you close the door in his face when he came to pick up his sister?
Because he was demanding some money.
Well, tell me about that, sir.
His sister is a dancer, a stripper. So he was demanding money. She claims I promised her some money to come strip at my party.
Oh, well, you didn't put that in your complaint, sir. So there's a whole other piece to this story that neither of you put in your papers. Is she a dancer?
Not now, she is not.
Was she then?
I believe so, yes.
What do you mean you believe so?
I don't know everything she does.
What prompted you, sir, to go to the house to pick up your sister?
I was called. I was at a bar. I was called. She had been at a bar with him. I was invited to his house to an after party.
You said you were at a bar and you got a call. Who did you get a call from?
My sister.
And what did your sister say to you when she called you?
Her friend was having an after party, wanted to know if I wanted to come there.
So you didn't speak to him, you spoke to your sister.
No, I spoke to him. He answered the door, let me in.
No, no, no. Before you got there, listen to me very carefully. And if you don't tell me the truth about everything, you see, you're going to be tripping over your tie that you're not wearing. So I just want you to pay careful attention to me. When you got to the house, you hadn't spoken to him. You spoke to your sister who said, come over to this after party.
Yes, ma'am.
So you weren't going there to pick up your sister. You were going there because you had been invited to a party.
Yes.
Now, you said that when you got there, you could tell she was upset about something. When did you see her? When he opened the door?
Yeah.
And what made you think she was upset about something?
I could just tell. It's my sister, I can tell.
So he closed the door.
No, he let me in.
Oh, he did?
Yes, I had a big stack of CDs. I came in, had drinks, was there for probably an hour or so. I had CDs, was playing music, having a good old time for a while.
And then what happened?
Him and his friends wanted to start acting crazy, try to jump me, threw me through a coffee table.
Why do you think they did that after an hour?
I have no idea. I don't know them.
Just a second. Did he come into the house, Mr. Macklin?
Yes, he did.
All right. So you closed the door, told him to leave, but when did he come back?
It started with, I had this after party, I had friends. He was not invited to my house. His sister was. He barged into my house and assaulted me. He didn't get thrown through a coffee table. He threw one of my friends through a coffee table.
I thought you said you closed the door and told him to leave.
That's after he demanded money. He demanded money because he said...
So he was in the house already?
Yes.
Can I say something?
Just a second. Tell me what he said when he demanded money.
He says, you owe my sister $100. I said, this is my house, you can leave. Get out.
And what happened?
He left.
And then what happened?
Well, I was in my room looking on the computer with my witness, Janet, and all of a sudden I heard a loud crash. I'm like, what the heck's going on? Next thing you know, him and a bunch of his buddies are in my bedroom beating me up. You know, they come crashing through with a bunch of his buddies, they were beating me up.
Crashing through where?
They crashed through my bedroom. I was in my bedroom. You know, I was in my bedroom with her on the computer. And all of a sudden, all these guys just come rushing in.
You mean you're having a party with somebody who may or may not have been a dancer, and you got a whole bunch of people there having a good time, dancing, drinking, having fun, and you're inside on your computer in your bedroom?
Correct. Yes, we were in my bedroom on the internet, yes. So, you know, I didn't know what the heck was going on. I'd never seen this guy before in my life. Never seen him before in my life. So I picked up a gun. They were like, he's got a gun, he's got a gun. So they went running outside. So I ran outside, and as they was running, they were crashing my house. I walked out my living room. It was just a shambles, you know. So I walked outside, went into the courtroom, down the stairs to get a license plate number, and all of a sudden, me and him got into a confrontation.
And what happens when you got into a confrontation?
We got into a confrontation. We started fighting. We went down to the ground, and we were rolling around.
And that's when you got your ear bitten?
Correct.
Okay. And where was the gun at that time?
Oh, it was in the house. I mean, it didn't even have a clip in it or anything like that.
I don't care whether it had a clip or not. You're telling me that you put the gun back inside when you went outside?
Oh, yes. I mean,
oh, yes. Okay. Yes. Go ahead. Now, let me hear you.
We was there partying and got in a big fight. I got through a coffee table.
What did you get into a fight about?
I don't really even know. They was all mad at her or something. I don't even know. I don't like to get involved in her affairs. But I was just there. I was just there to have a good time, party. The bars were closed, so I stopped by, you know, to have a couple drinks. It was still a little early. Well, I get through a coffee table. I was jumped up. I had a whole bunch of CDs, a book that holds about 100 CDs that I had brought with me to play some music. I was grabbing that. While I was grabbing that, he was grabbing his gun from in between the mattresses. I take off running. I'm jumping down flights of stairs. I'm not even running down the stairs. I'm jumping down them. I lose, you know, about 15 CDs. I'm trying to shove them back in the book. At this time, she yells, gun. So I thought he was coming at me with the gun. I took off running, ran around the building, which I was parked right in the front. I was so, you know, drunk and scared. I ran around the building. When I ran back, he met me. You know, he chased me outside. I don't know if he had the gun or not. It was dark. He came up to me and goes, "I have no problem with you," and hit me. When he did that, I had to do what I had to do. And I don't know what made me think to bite his ear off. All I knew is he had a gun.
I did not chase him with a gun. It was in my house. These guys, he came with a bunch of buddies.
He chased me outside, though.
Just a second. Step up. Tell me your first name.
Jenny.
What were you doing there, Jenny?
I just went there to just go chill after party.
After what party?
It was an after-bar party.
What were you doing in the bathroom with these guys?
I was in no bathroom with no guys. I was standing in the kitchen when my brother got there.
What do you do professionally?
Right now, I stay home with my child.
Okay. Before you stayed home with your child, did you do any professional dancing?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He was drunk. You were drunk. I have no idea about her. That's what happens when you get drunk. What do you want from me?
And later today.
How much was the ring?
$2,700, $2,500.
I'm trying to resolve this, Mr. Lupo. I don't want you to think that this is an interview for The Sopranos. Do you understand?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Vincent Macklin says Joshua Nave crashed his party, started a fight, and bit off part of his ear.
Go ahead.
Can I show you this? It says right here, it's a police report where he says the victim stated, which is him, that he was very drunk. And the incident would not have happened if he wasn't so drunk.
So were you.
No, I was not that drunk.
You just a second. You just told me.
I said I've been drinking.
No. That's not what you said.
Okay.
That's not what you said. You said you ran outside. You ran the wrong way because you were drunk and
well, I was
scared.
Scared, yeah.
No. You said drunk and scared is what you said. He was drunk. You were drunk. I have no idea about her. That's what happens when you get drunk. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? That's what happens when you have a wild drinking party at your house.
But I was at my house.
I don't care if you were in your house.
He came to my house with his buddies and jumped me.
No.
He's not saying that his buddies were there.
Listen to me. You let him into your house. You may not have liked what happened once he was there. I don't know what was going on. Everybody was drinking, brawling. Everybody was, who knows what they were doing in the bathroom, in the kitchen.
Party.
Listen to me, sir. You let him into your house. You had too much to drink. He had too much to drink. You picked up a gun, licensed, I'm sure. Is that right?
Yes, the police officers have all this on record.
Good. He takes off. You take off after him. He doesn't know whether you still have the gun. Confront each other according to you. And the fight was on.
He's not telling a vital part. He had a bunch of buddies with him. He brought a whole gang of guys that started ruining my house. He didn't get thrown through. He threw my buddy through a table.
You just told me you ran out after him to get a license plate.
Because
That's what you told me.
Yes.
And you had already, in your bedroom, picked up a gun. He was fleeing. You had not been injured up until that point. Is that correct?
The gun never left the house. He brought a gang of people into my house. If someone comes to your house and invades your house...
Macklin, call the police.
I couldn't. They were beating me up. They were beating me up, and they threw a friend of mine through a glass coffee table.
Listen, Mr. Macklin, I wasn't born yesterday, sir. You just told me 2 seconds ago that you were inside with this young lady in your bedroom playing on the computer, on the internet.
Correct.
In the same moment that you was playing on the computer on the internet, you go into your bedroom, you call the police, and you say, a group of people have just invaded my house.
That's not the way it happened. He came crashing through the bedroom. He came through with his buddies and started beating me up.
You're going to have an answer for everything. You're not going to have an answer for me. If you allow a drunken brawl to get going in your house, and then later you have a fight with him, and you get the worst of the fight because he bites you during the course of the fight, what do you want from me?
That's not what happened.
Goodbye. The case is dismissed. Next time, make sure that you don't invite people who you don't know to your house.
Officer, excuse me, step out.
I've suffered. I've half my ear bitten off.
I don't feel it's right that I bit his ear off, but I don't feel it's right that they can jump me and pull a gun on me.
I have doctor's bill. I have cosmetic surgery that needs to be done.
I was scared. I had to do what I had to do.
You know, I just need to be careful on who I invite over my house from now on.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hustava versus Lupo. Step forward, please.
21-year-old accountant Nicole Hustava is suing her ex-fiancé, 26-year-old mechanic Christopher Lupo, for his share of a wedding that never happened.
Mrs. Hustava, you and the defendant have been engaged to be married. And according to your complaint, you broke the engagement for whatever reason, and you had an agreement with the defendant that you were each going to contribute to the wedding.
Correct.
You put down certain deposits on things for the wedding, and when the engagement was broken, the defendant refused to pay you half of the deposits, which was your agreement. In addition, you purchased a wedding dress that you claimed that you stored or left at the defendant's mother's home that he refuses to return to you. Mr. Lupo says that you did have an agreement that you were going to share the costs of the wedding, correct?
Yes, correct.
But when you broke the engagement, you kept everything. I don't know what everything is. And in addition, you kept the engagement ring.
Correct.
So he's not paying for anything, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so you really want the engagement ring back, right?
Yeah. Yes.
You're a quick learner. Did you want your dog?
No, she could keep it. Just the point, like, if I wanted to take it back, she wouldn't have gave it to me anyway, but, you know, she can keep it.
Mr. Lupo, do you want your dog? The answer is no, she could keep the dog.
She could keep the dog.
But you want your personal items back?
Yes.
And the engagement ring?
Yes.
Okay, do you have his personal items? It's not an answer,
I
madam.
do have some of his clothes at the house.
Well, tell me, what do you have?
Maybe some sweatpants. I mean, it's really nothing.
Do you have a jacket?
worth. I didn't see the leather jacket. I did look for it, and I didn't find it.
Now, where's the engagement ring?
I have the engagement ring. I told him I'll give it back to him. I have no problem giving it back to him as long as I get the money for the from the deposits. But I did pay $300 towards the engagement ring, and I have that also.
Did she pay some money towards the engagement ring, Mr. Lupo?
Yes, she did.
How much was the ring?
$2,700, $2,500.
I'm trying to resolve this, Mr. Lupo, and I don't want you to. I don't want you to think that this is an interview for The Sopranos. Do you understand? It is not. It is not. So we're going to try to behave like this is a courtroom, and this is a serious piece of business.
She has the receipt.
Mr. Lupo, do you understand what I'm saying to you, sir?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do, because I'm sure that you don't talk the way you're talking to me if you go and you're talking to a priest. Do you understand? You understand? You try to act respectfully, which is exactly what I expect. I expect you to act as if you would talk. Strike that. I expect you to talk as if you were talking to a doctor who just told you that he thought you had a terminal illness. Okay? Does that settle it down for you?
Yes.
Good. Perfect. Now, how much was the engagement ring, sir?
It was around $2,700.
Is that correct?
I wasn't there when he bought it.
Fine. Is it a nice ring? Do you have it with you?
I don't have it with me, no.
Fine. $2,700. And she gave you $300 towards the ring?
Yeah, because she wanted to change the diamond.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yes. Next time you get engaged, sir, don't let your fiancé give you anything towards the ring. It's tacky, especially when you're spending so much for the ring.
Well, I thought she would have been happy with the diamond I gave her, but she wanted to change it. So.
That should have been something that gave you a ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling. Okay. So far we're down to $2,400 that the ring was worth. Now, how much were the deposits that you put down?
Half of it is $2,100.
Okay, $2,100.
$2,110.
And does your mother have her wedding dress?
I'm not sure. I'll be honest with you, I don't know where it is.
I'm sure she has it. If that's where you put the wedding dress, right, you gave it to his mother.
I left it at his house because I figured it would be better kept there.
So you have to get the wedding dress back. Do you understand? You're going to get the engagement ring back because we're going to resolve this very fast because clearly you two folks are not in love anymore, right? Well, at least if you are still in love, you're going to start at ground zero so that you can start building on this lovely relationship again if you so choose. Once you get back the engagement ring, you don't want to give it to anybody else, so you're going to sell it. Then you'll have some money to give her back for the deposits. Is that reasonable?
That's reasonable.
There you go. Look how happy we are. Now, you're going to look very, very hard for his personal property. You have some sweaters that belong to him. He's looking for his jacket. He wants his jacket back in addition to the engagement ring. Clear?
Yes.
Now, you are going to get your $2,100 24 hours after he gets his clothes and his engagement ring. Do you understand?
Yes.
You're going to give her the $2,100 as soon as
I get my stuff, she can have it. No problem.
And you're going to get your stuff 5 days from today. 6 days from today, she gets her $2,100.
Sounds good.
Happy?
Yes.
Happy?
Can I just ask one question, Your Honor?
Yes.
What about the $300 that was put towards the ring? I didn't include that with the...
No, just a second.
Oh, okay.
You're absolutely right. Because he's getting it back. So we have to add that on to the $2,100.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Sounds fair.
By the way, just for my own interest, why did you put $300 towards the ring? Is it true you wanted a different stone?
We changed the diamond.
You wanted a different diamond. Not we changed the diamond. He doesn't know anything about diamonds. Trust me, he knows nothing about diamonds.
It looked nice.
It looked nice. It looked nice. You wanted a different diamond,
Yes.
right? And he agreed.
Yes.
Fine. Then you agreed. Nice guy. So, $2,400. What else?
My records, my DJ equipment.
Everything that belongs to him.
I'll give him everything back.
You give
I don't
him
have a
everything
problem
back
with that.
because one day after he gets everything back, you
I'll
get your
get my
money.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you don't get your money. Right?
Yes.
Right? So now he's going to get everything back. Goodbye. Good luck. Have a happy life.
Thank you.
24-year-old Jennifer Leporati says when she split from 28-year-old Sean Chattel, he kept the camcorder and still owes her for a loan.
Order, all rise. All rise, please. Your Honor, this is number 174 on the calendar in the matter of Leporati versus Chattel. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
This used to be your boyfriend.
Yes.
You lived together for a while in his parents' home. Is that right?
No, I always resided at my father's house, but I did spend time at his mother's.
Did you ever sleep there?
Yes.
More than once a week?
Yes.
All right. According to your complaint, he owes you $350. $250 that you gave him to pay back some money for his daughter's school,
His son,
daycare,
yes.
or his son's school. How old is this child?
4.5.
Were you married to his mother?
Yes, I was for 4 years.
And when were you divorced?
About 3.5 years ago.
So how old is the child?
4.5. He was 1.
He was 1 when you separated. And in addition to the $250 that you lent him for the child's daycare, you had purchased a camcorder together for $200. When you split up, he kept the camcorder.
Correct.
Your defense to this action, sir, is?
I have the camcorder, yes.
Okay. You have the camcorder and you
I've
paid?
always had possession of it, yes.
And she paid?
We went in on it together as like everything that we do together. We just we buy something, we owned it, and it just surprised me that she asked for the $100 back. So
Because he decided since he broke up, it was his house. It became his possession, no longer mine.
Okay, so let's take care of this $100 camcorder first. You weren't married?
No.
So you each put in half of the camcorder?
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
It was $200. You kept the camcorder?
Yep.
Is that fair?
I think it's fair.
Tell me why.
Because for one, it was my idea to buy it. It was my partner that I bought it from, and she's never even used it, and it needed work, so I had to pay for the work to be done on it.
When did it need work?
We didn't even use it, but maybe a couple of weeks, and then I needed to buy a new battery for it. The charger went bad, so it wasn't even working. I paid for all that.
But he's forgetting to let you know that when we bought the camcorder, I put up the $200 up front, and then he paid me back the $100 for it.
Just a second. You say here in your answer to her complaint that the friend that you bought this camera from was a really good friend, and he was selling you this great camcorder for a rock-bottom price.
Correct.
Well, so why don't you think that you owe her half, which is the $100 that she put in? Otherwise, it seems very inequitable to me, sir, that you got the camera and she's got nothing.
Okay, I guess I look at it like if we were to have we have other possessions together. Say she bought me a skateboard. Am I supposed to give her half the skateboard money back because she bought it for a gift?
This is not a gift, sir. I mean, don't you
Everything
understand the
we bought
difference?
together was ours.
This is not a gift. There's a difference between a gift and something you went into together. She put up the $200. You gave her $100 back. That means you bought this as a joint item. Assuming that you were married, it would be considered community property.
Correct.
Court would order it to be sold. You'd get 100. You'd get 100, or one of you would get the camera, and the other one would have to pay the other for half of its value. Do you understand?
Yes.
There's a difference between that and buying you a skateboard, sir, because you can only fit one behind on a skateboard, the last I looked. Right?
Sure.
Sure. All right, so $100, Miss Laporte, you have. Now what about this $250?
Well, when we were going out, I used to front Sean money for various bills, like his son's daycare daycare, etc.
Why did you do that?
Pay. Because I loved him, and he always was responsible and always paid me back on time. I never had a problem with it until the end. And a couple weeks before we broke up, I lent him $250. Some of it was for daycare, and then others was to get him by until his checks came in from his clients. So I gave him the money, and then that following week we broke up, and he didn't pay me back on a couple of occasions. We met, we talked, he said that he would meet me to pay me back, and he never did. One time he told me he'd meet me at a restaurant. I waited for him for an hour. He never showed up. I called him the next day. He said he didn't feel he had to chase me around town to pay me back the money.
Does any of that sound familiar to you?
No. I mean, absolutely not.
Your Honor, I have...
Just up!
It just
No,
really...
don't look at your feet. Look at my eyes.
Okay.
Does any of what she said about making appointments to meet her, to pay her back...
Yes.
Shh. Let me finish. Meeting her to pay her back the money. None of that sounds familiar to you?
Meet her to talk about the issue that she thinks that I owe her the money when I paid her back. That's what we were supposed to meet for. I felt it was irrelevant to even meet with her, so I didn't. And she didn't have a pager or a phone, so I couldn't call her, so I didn't show up.
I had a cellular phone on me that day.
Just a second.
Okay.
Let me understand something. Are you telling me, sir, that you behaved in an unchivalrous manner by making an appointment to meet her to discuss something and then decided that you didn't feel as if you had anything to discuss and then you didn't show up?
Said, yes.
And then you didn't show up? Is that right? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, I did.
Good. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff. $350. Thank you very much.
That is our excuse. You may step out. We'll see. Out the back door to your right.
I'm happy he got what he deserves. He gets away with everything, and I didn't want him to get away with it.
I don't get away with it. What are you talking about? Explain yourself.
Mommy bills you out of this. Grandma
give me a
bills you
break.
out of this.
Give me a
Okay.
break.
You know it's true. I know it's true.
And now the next case.
Parties on Ambrose versus Moronian. Step forward, please.
27-year-old actress Melinda Joyce Ambrose says hairdresser Anita Moronian made her hair turn green. Anita says somebody else botched the job.
Miss Ambrose, you are dissatisfied with the defendant's services that she performed for you as a hairdresser.
Yes.
And not only, according to your complaint, do you want to be compensated by having her return the money that was paid, but you also want her to pay for, let's see, $600 for what it cost you to repair your hair, another $1,000 or so for you to take new headshots because you're an actress.
Yes.
This better be good. Go.
Okay. I have a picture of what my hair... I've been growing out my hair for 2 years. I went to expensive salons to have them take care of my hair. Anita is a relatively expensive... She works at a relatively expensive salon. I had been seeing her for at least 7 months. I have a picture of what my hair looked like before she went and permed it. It's bleached hair. And I had put some temporary color in my hair.
Just a second, let's stop. You sort of glossed over that. So you put some color in your hair.
Yes.
And then when did you call her after you had put the color in your hair?
The morning after, and I told them what I told her boss, and then I told her exactly what I put in my hair.
Yes.
Yes.
And she said what?
That it was still safe to perm it and color correct it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You want to tell me how horrible your wife looked?
Her hair after coming back from the salon was very bad. It was very frizzy. It was very damaged. It was orange and green.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Melinda Joyce Ambrose says hairdresser Anita Moronian cut her hair too short, permed it, and turned it green. Anita says she warned her not to color her hair.
Just a second. Color corrected, which means you put something in your hair.
That was too dark. It was darker than I liked it.
So then you made an appointment, and when did you go in?
It was that morning.
And what happened when you got there that morning?
I checked with her again and again and again, and I said, I used Clairol. It's a version number 1. This is in my hair now. She obviously saw the color difference because she had been my sole hairdresser for 7 months. I said, are you sure it's safe to perm on this hair?
Miss Ambrose, why did you take it upon yourself to do a home hair color on yourself if you had been going to very expensive salons for months and months?
my hair turned out darker than I wanted it to, and so I thought it wouldn't be a problem for her to put basic rinse through my hair to
in a second.
Okay. A basic rinse through to soften the color and to perm it. It's a non-ammonia, non-peroxide solution, and I told her exactly what it was, and I asked if it could be done. I was very clear about that. I mean, I asked her over and over so much that I felt paranoid, and she assured me that it was fine. She assured me that it was fine to do a color and a perm that day.
Okay, so what did you do?
I went in, got the perm done. It turned out stringy and strawy and awful. Most of the color washed out. Some of it basically baked in would be the right words. It stuck and wouldn't come out, and that turned kind of orange. There were parts that turned green. After Anita saw that, Anita looked at my hair. She told me not to see anyone for 2 days because it was really damaged. She couldn't color my hair that day because it was too damaged, even though she had agreed to at the beginning of that service. And basically let me go. She said not to touch it for 2 days and then to use a semi-permanent color, which is exactly what I did.
Just a second. She told you to do another self-help?
No, she wanted to put the semi-permanent color in.
Okay, so she told you to leave with the perm that you said was not good and not do anything for 2 days, and then you should come back to the salon for whatever corrective measures with regard to color she would do.
Yes.
And then what did you do?
And I left out a detail, is that she cut off most of the green and the orange, making my hair basically a couple inches shorter than it is right now.
Well, you wouldn't want green and orange in your hair. So then she told you to come back in 2 days. What did you do?
In 2 days, I went to someone else who was not her, because I would never go back to somebody who did that to my hair again.
Miss Ambrose, you're talking as if this lady did what she did to you on purpose. You don't believe that she did this to you on purpose.
She told me,
hey,
Your Honor.
You don't believe she did this to you on purpose?
Not on purpose, out of seeking money and out of negligence, yes.
Okay, now I'll hear you.
First of all, she's calling, I mean, I'm not a better actress than she is. She's acting, but I don't know how to act. So she called the salon around 2 o'clock in the morning, left a message. I mean, this is not a normal hours.
2 o'clock in the morning? This is before you worked on her?
She brought me in my day
Listen
off
to me.
do
Listen
her
to me.
hair.
Stop talking. Listen to me.
Right.
Well, I want to know about when you started to do work on her.
Not
with this perm.
She called that morning. It's my day off. She begged them to call me and have me to go and do her hair. In my day off, I went to do her hair. Tried to do a favor to her, and she's telling me negligently.
Just a second. What happened when you got to the salon?
She came in the salon. I came in my day off. I did her hair, what I had to do.
What did you do?
I permed her hair.
What kind of a discussion did you have before you permed her hair?
I mentioned to her, I said, every time you have a chemical process, anything happens, your ends might little damage. And it's very possible with the perms. It's always possible.
Did you tell her that?
Yes, I did.
She just said ends might have a little damage. That's like not 3 inches.
Your Honor, can I continue?
Yes, continue.
So I did her perm, but when she came, she had already green hair on her hair. Every time you have a perm, your hair shrinks because it's curly.
Of course, that's, you don't have to be a physicist to figure that out.
I didn't chop her, I didn't shorten it 3 inches. It's already, when you perm the hair, it's by himself, it shrinks.
So when you cut off the ends?
I cut off the ends.
And you told her to come back?
And I told her, I said, I cannot color your hair because she wanted me to color it. I said, come back in 2 days because a perm needs to oxidize the neutralizer has to oxidize on the hair too, between 24 to 36 hours. So I told her when she come back, I can put semi-permanent color. Since that day, I never seen her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I knew from the first day I met you, you are a weirdo. There's something wrong about you.
Thank you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Actress Melinda Joyce Ambrose says that she could not go on auditions after hairdresser Anita Moranyan ruined her hair. Anita says she's not the one who ruined it.
In order for me to say to you, I'm comfortable with any of your allegations, you had been using this lady for 7 months. You put your own process on your hair, which you know if you're a smart lady and you rely on your looks to make a living, that you shouldn't have done. Clearly, because you didn't like the result of what you did, you called her. She came into work on her day off to do your hair to perm it, right?
Apparently, yes.
Apparently, yes. So I assume that when you called, you were hysterical, that your hair was too dark, and that somebody could please come in and do your hair.
I doubt I was hysterical.
My problem is, you'd been using this lady for color.
Yes.
You started a process that you hadn't used before. You were going to get a perm. A perm was going to change your appearance because it was going to make your hair curly instead of glorious and straight.
Yes.
All right, so that you were going to do anyway, which would have required, if I read your complaint correctly, additional headshots, because then if you had curly hair, it's different from straight hair. It's also shorter hair.
That's why I only asked for 2, because in the year that it's going to take me to grow my hair out back to there, I'm assuming 1 headshot session would have had to have happened anyways. But I lost all the headshots that I had. I can't use them now. I can't ever use them again. And I'm going to have more than that done
So
in
then
this
you
next year.
you learn 2 things. A, you should let a professional colorist do your hair if you rely on something. B, if you decide to have 3 processes on your hair, you risk your hair turning orange and green.
Your Honor, can I ask you to please understand one thing?
Sure.
And also, I'd like you to hear from my husband, if that would be possible.
What does he want to tell me?
How horrible it looked right after she did it, because he saw it.
Oh, sure, I'll hear you. I'll hear you. Step up, sir. Your name?
Nick Ambrose.
You want to tell me how horrible your wife looked?
Her hair after coming back from the salon was very bad. It was very frizzy. It was very damaged. It was orange and green. And I know how careful she is about her hair, and how she was very, very, very insistent that she told what was on the box of the actual label of the box of the dye she put on the day before, so that the person who was doing it would know exactly what was there and would be able to judge whether they could do a safe process or not.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a software engineer.
Let me ask you this question, sir. If somebody has a computer and they take their computer and they try, and doesn't seem to be working right, and they have a guarantee that goes with the computer, and they decide, well, they think that they could fix this computer, so they take a toothbrush and a toilet plunger. Say, I can fix this computer. I'm going to stick in the toilet plunger. I'm going to roto-root this computer, right? And then the computer doesn't work, and they bring it to you, and they say, hey, I got a guarantee here. The computer doesn't work. And you say, listen, there's an intervening thing here. There's an intervening thing here. You took this toothbrush, you took this toilet plunger, you try to fix the computer yourself. I don't understand why a woman who has been going to what she says to me is an expensive salon for 7 months, one night gets a bee in her bonnet that she wants to change her hair color, goes down to a drugstore and buys a box of something for $2.98 and puts it in her hair, or for $4.95 and puts it in her hair. And then she's so hysterical because of the way she looks that she can't even wait for this lady to come in on her regular day. She's got to come in the very next day and not say to her, listen, could you just fix the color for me, throw a rinse in, I just want to get it back, but comes in and says, I want my hair permed.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
You had here a dissatisfied customer.
Right.
Your dissatisfied customer paid you $125 for a process that she was dissatisfied with. Let me tell you what good business is. Good business is saying to a dissatisfied customer, listen, I'm sorry that you were dissatisfied. You've been my customer for 7 months. You've paid me for 7 months. You're dissatisfied. I don't think I did anything wrong, but you're dissatisfied with the service. I don't want you to be dissatisfied. I'm going to give you back your $125. That's what she originally called for, correct? You said you called because you wanted your money back.
Yeah.
And
she wanted more.
Hey! Some people are so stupid, they just don't understand.
Just like
you said
did.
you wanted your money back.
Yes.
And if they had given you your money back, this matter would have been closed.
If it had happened right away, yes.
Good. Now it's right away.
It's not right away.
It's right away to me, madam. I'm giving you your money back, $125. It's more than I think that you deserve. I think that you contributed in part to having your hair damaged. You can't do one process, another process, a perm, and then a color to your hair and expect your hair to be as pristine as it is in this picture.
Your Honor, didn't she have a responsibility to tell me that before she did the process?
I believe that she told you that you were going to have damage to your hair. The fact that you didn't want to hear it is your problem. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $125, period. End of case.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I was working just fine. I had an agent, and they all thought my hair was fine. Anita didn't make me beautiful, and Anita did do nice corrective color, and that was great, and that's why I trusted
What's
her
that
with the
mean?
pearls. It means you made my hair what I wanted.
Thank you very much. That's what I
Nice,
wanted to
beautiful.
hear it. That's
For
all
7
what I
months
wanted
you
to
did,
hear.
and that's what it was in my
And I
complaint.
knew from the first day I met you, you are a weirdo. There's something wrong about you.
Thank you. Well, I'm really glad I referred people to your salon.
Sarah deliberately used an ugly photo for her senior portrait.
Order. All rise. Quiet, please. Now, this is case number 268 on the calendar in the matter of Rice versus Gardner. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat, please, sir.
You graduated from high school.
Correct.
You were in charge of the high school yearbook.
Correct. The senior section.
Where they put all the pictures of the seniors, and underneath it, you know, most likely to succeed, most likely to have 10 children before 30th birthday, those little things, right? And Miss Rice, you claim in this lawsuit, where you're asking for $3,500, that the defendant caused a very ugly picture of you to be placed in the yearbook.
Correct.
Not the picture you had selected.
Correct.
And that's because the two of you had some sort of a history together.
Correct.
So tell me about it.
She disliked me due to my relationship with her now ex-boyfriend, who's my witness. And she was very jealous, and this is a very malicious and dishonest thing to do. And
let me see the picture that she put of you in the yearbook.
This is the picture that was supposed to be in there, and if you notice, it says yearbook selection on the back. And I verified that with the photography studio.
No, that's not such a bad picture in there.
My eyes are half shut. It's not the point that it's like a horrible picture, it's the point that everybody that turns to that picture is going to see me and remember me as that. And that's not what I want. And that wasn't what I asked for.
Well, first of all, I'm glad that I looked at it, because I was really picturing something that looked like Quasimodo based upon what you wrote in your complaint. I mean, you're a very pretty young lady. It would be very hard to make you look ugly. I want to tell you something. The matter is, I sort of like this one better than this one, but that's just my own personal taste. Let's find out what the defense is for putting the picture that she had not selected in the yearbook. Miss Gardner.
Okay. There's about 300 senior pictures that were in my charge. What was supposed to happen is that seniors were supposed to specify which picture they wanted in the yearbook.
Show her the back of that picture.
Either they were to call their photo company.
No.
Right.
She did that. She did everything she was supposed to do. Miss Gardner, I want you to look at me and tell me whether, when you selected that picture for her, did you get a stack of them from the photographer?
Yes, we got a whole box of envelopes.
Okay. That you took any special care in selecting her picture?
No. There were 3 other individuals that worked with me the first day. Turi, who is my witness, worked with me on the first day, and then there were 2 other individuals who helped me.
You worked with her?
Yes.
Step up here.
And what we did is that the seniors that did specify which picture they wanted,
She did that.
Right. The numbers that did indicate, we pulled those pictures. And
Hers
then,
did.
And then the 3/4 of the seniors who did not specify, we were advised by Mr. Sonemaker to pick the top photo from each envelope.
Okay, but she picked which photo she wanted. It's on the back of her photo, that's the one she picked.
If Mr. Sonemaker
had a meeting with her and she specified he did not let me know. We did divide up the pictures between me and the other 3 individuals that worked with me, and since we were working very fast, no, I don't know who handled Audra's picture.
Do you remember who handled her picture?
No, I going through, it takes you about 2 minutes to do each one, and you don't even look at their names really. You just look to see if the barcode was there. And
now, Miss Rice, other than the fact that you have a history with Miss Gardner over you.
Correct.
In which, what other evidence do you have that she purposely picked the wrong picture to put in your yearbook?
Okay, this is what
here we go.
The process I went through.
I know the process you went through. You picked the right picture. You put the right thing on the back. Just tell me what proof you have that she purposely selected the wrong picture. Do you know?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Just a minute.
Your Honor, on the last day of school, she was pestering me to get me to sign her yearbook.
Who was?
Miss Gardner. And she said that, "Do you see Audra's picture?" And I said, "Yeah." And she laughed hysterically as if to say that she did it herself. She said, "Ha ha ha, did you see how funny it looked?"
So she just laughed and said, "Did you see her picture?" Don't tell me as if yours in your mind. What she said was, "Did you see Audra's picture?" And she laughed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you do that?
No, I did not. I would like to add that...
Just a minute.
Okay, sorry.
Sure you did. Sure you did. That's exactly what you said to him. Don't give me a lot of baloney.
Can I please add something?
Add it.
Okay, I did not say that to him. I do feel that...
What did you say to him? I'm not interested in what you feel. What did you say to him?
Actually, from what I remember, there was a lot of goofing off. There was other people there. Jacob did run into a fellow who did want to fight him.
What do you remember about the picture?
What do I remember about the picture?
About the conversation about the picture.
There was no conversation about a picture. I feel that he's not a credible witness. I do have a restraining order against this gentleman.
You do?
Yes.
Can I see
right
it?
Here.
I also have notes that she wrote displaying her disgust for Audra. This is going to be a quote directly from Sarah. "I saw Audra at lunch, and if it weren't for my heavy bag and a cigarette, her ass would have been down." She continues to say about how upset she is, and then she says, "I don't really mind. It's not you that I care about and don't want to hurt, it's them."
Let me see the restraining order. Curious about this. He looks like butter would melt in his mouth, right? Why did you get an order of protection against him?
I was being stalked. There were times when he's tried to strangle me. Coming to my house late at night, I felt very unsafe.
And you had a hearing on this, a trial?
Yes, I did.
Were you represented by an attorney at this trial?
He did not show up.
I was in Utah.
What were you doing in Utah?
I went on a road trip with my parents.
You mean you knew you had a court date and you didn't show up? That requires an answer, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
That was pretty stupid. That was pretty stupid. How old are you?
18.
Did you tell your parents you had a court date?
Yeah, when we were in Utah.
Oh, the more I spend time here, the more I love my children.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I believe, no matter what you tell me, that you selected a picture of her different from the one that she had selected just to give her an old zinger.
And later today.
Well, he didn't give us much of a chance really to get out of the way. He used his car as a battering ram.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 18-year-old Audra Sullivan Rice is suing her classmate and editor of their high school yearbook, Sarah Gardner, claiming Sarah deliberately selected an ugly photo for her senior portrait. Sarah claims it wasn't her job to pick the photos.
The picture of you in the yearbook isn't terrible. As a matter of fact, I think I like it a little bit better than the one you selected. I do, however, think that there was some design to get that picture in there. It just seems too coincidental to me that she's in charge of the yearbook, she can't stand you, you pick a picture and a different picture goes in there, right? And there's all just too much coincidence that doesn't sit comfortably with me. But if she picked the wrong picture, truth of the matter is, I think she picked a better one. So I don't think you should be that discouraged. Okay. And Miss Gardner, there's a certain thing about misusing your authority. If anything, you should have been far more careful about selecting her picture as making sure it was the right picture.
Right, but there was no specification.
Oh, yes, there was. You keep saying there was no specification, and I'm telling you.
There were a lot of seniors who did come to my attention that they did specifically pick a picture, and then they
look at the back of the picture. Would you hands on the picture? I don't want them to touch each other. Right? What does that say back there?
Actually, I did not.
I didn't ask you what you see. I asked you what it said back there.
Yearbook selection.
Okay. Bottom line is, I believe, no matter what you tell me, that you selected a picture of her different from the one that she had selected just to give her an old zinger. The fact that you happen to have picked one that wasn't terrible and that I really think is much nicer is really not the issue. It's not, you're not damaged $3,500 worth, madam.
What I wanted to
You're not damaged $3,000 by this photograph. You're damaged maybe a lesson. So what's a lesson? Less there's $100, Bird.
That's good.
$100 for the plaintiff, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
Parties on Gorman versus Siemens. Step forward, please.
Mike Gorman says, while attempting to retrieve a package during a UPS strike, picketer Don Siemens pounded his sign on the hood of his car, causing severe damage.
All right, Mr. Gorman, you were expecting an important package that was to arrive, unfortunately, during the UPS strike.
That's correct.
And you had to go and pick that package up at the warehouse, correct?
Yes.
Your complaint alleges that when you went there, the defendant was one of the strikers, he was online, and he damaged your car.
That's correct.
You want to tell me what happened, please?
Yes, actually, I made arrangements to have the package shipped to me by FedEx because of...
Listen, sir, I got other cases to do today.
I understand.
At some point, you had to go and pick up your package at the UPS warehouse.
That's correct.
You're in your car.
I'm in my car.
And you're driving there.
Yes.
And what do you see?
The strikers were blocking the returning trucks, and I circled the block numerous times until the police finally arrived. I went in with the returning trucks, picked up my package, and when I left, I knew it was going to be trouble. And several of the strikers were marching very close and impeding my exit. And they started jumping on the front of my car and on the trunk. They were pounding on the windows, cursing at me, chanting slogans. I inched along, and the police finally came over and removed the people on my car. Mr.
They were actually on your car?
Oh, yes, ma'am. At least 8 of them.
Okay.
On the front and the back. And Mr. Siemens was the last to be removed. And when he exited, he took his sign and pounded it into my hood. And I immediately stopped the car, and the police separated us, and he went over and took our names and information.
What was the cost of the damage to your car?
Approximately $500.
You have the bill?
I do.
All right, Mr. Siemens.
I think he's living in a fantasy world. I can't believe this.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you interrupting me? Two people can't talk at the same time. And when my mouth is moving, you have to be quiet.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mike Gorman is suing UPS worker Don Siemens for damaging his car with a picket sign during a strike. Don says he was only trying to get out of the way when Mike drove through the picket line, nearly running him over.
You're on strike.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
You're circling
We were walking the sidewalk there, yes, back and forth.
So tell me what happened.
Well, he didn't give us much of a chance really to get out of the way. He used his car as a battering ram and knocked us, some of us out of the way, myself onto the hood, and trying to get off of the hood the best I could. I guess my sign hit his car somehow.
What were you doing in front of his car?
Well, we were on the picket line.
No, what were you, not we.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What were you doing?
I'm sorry.
Listen, you're walking around with a sign, Mr. Siemens.
Back
you
and
see
forth.
his car. You have several choices. You can either move to the side and make way for him to leave.
He didn't give us enough time, Your Honor. No, I didn't, honest. There was about 20 of us out there, 15 to 20 of us. And he hit 5 or 6 of us. Jason was there to contest it.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
Sure.
Okay, we were ordered by our union to go on strike. We're all in front of the building striking. The plaintiff comes, he did not even slow down. He almost hit 3 of us when he was coming in, did not slow down. I don't know where he's getting this, I inched in, inched out. He didn't do anything. Okay, so when he's coming out, we have more people come out to block him because this is ridiculous, the fact that he came in and almost ran us over. I mean, we're pedestrians.
Just a second.
All right.
You just said a very important thing, sir. You said you had a lot more people out there to block him. That's what you just said.
Right. Well, we set up.
Just a sec. Hey, that's exactly what he said, sir. He said there were people blocking him, cursing at him. Right? Mr. Cronky.
We were telling him to stop.
You were telling him to stop what?
Because I was right in front of his car, and we were telling him to stop because he was running me over. His bumper was pushing right into my legs.
Why didn't you just walk away, Mr. Cronky?
Because he was already running into me at the time, Your Honor.
No, Mr. Cronky. My recollection of the UPS strike was that there were managers driving the trucks, correct?
Well, while the policemen were there.
Yeah, yes, is that correct?
Yes, management.
And is it also correct that they were being heckled, for want of a better term, as the trucks were going in and out?
We were just stopping them from doing their course of business. We were setting up a picket line.
You were stopping them
Yes. We were not
from going into their building.
Isn't that the whole purpose of a picket line?
Yes.
Isn't that the purpose of a picket line?
Just
no, sir.
We're disrupting.
No, sir. That's not the purpose of a picket line. Let me ask you this question, sir. Do you believe that if this gentleman was going to pick up his package and he had a clear path to go into...
He didn't have a clear path, Your Honor.
Are you interrupting me? 2 people can't talk at the same time. And when my mouth is moving, you have to be quiet. Do you think that if this man, who was doing nothing more than going to pick up his package, got there, saw your picket line, and there was a path for him to go in, pick up his package, and come out, we would be standing here today? No.
He went in about 30 miles an hour also into the driveway. And on the way out, there were more pickets for him to go through.
There was,
what right does that give him to run into us, Your Honor?
I don't believe, sir, that he ran into you. I believe that you were blocking him. That's what he just said. They brought out a whole bunch of other people to block him.
I believe
that's what your witness just said to me, Mr. Siemens.
We walked back and forth the street. That's what a picket line's for.
I believe at the time I was a pedestrian, an automobile hit me. Is there something right with that?
That's what you believe?
Yeah, what right does
That's what you believe? How many people were out there on the picket line by the time he came out?
Approximately 20.
Okay, so there are 20 people, and he's one person in his car. Do you think that that's intimidating with people yelling and screaming and cursing? You think that that's intimidating? You can't tell me that you weren't yelling at the people who were going into...
No, ma'am.
Mr. Siemens.
We were not yelling.
He wasn't there for any other purpose than to pick up his package.
We had no
and
idea.
run over a few people. That's all right.
Run over a few people.
That gives him the right to run over, to hit us.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
You have no right to inhibit him from going to pick up his package in any way. What if it contains insulin for his baby that he needed? You didn't give a damn. It didn't make any difference. What was in this package?
Excuse me.
It could have been penicillin, it could have been a heart transplant, it could have been anything else. The fact that it was, what was it, computer equipment or something?
It was an item I needed for my business.
Your business was impeding business as usual for UPS. That's a legitimate thing to do as far as a strike is concerned, letting people know you're on strike, that you have a grievance. He's an individual citizen and he has a right to go and pick up his property. And if he chooses to go through your picket line, he chooses to do that. That's his choice. And you have no right to impede that. You owe him $461.85, which was the cost to fix his car. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
We were not picketing the customers. And we would open up and let them through. He didn't give us time.
He didn't even slow down when he came in to get his package.
Your line here is bringing disgrace to the Teamsters Union, and especially
Oh, God, you gotta be kidding
and
me.
especially the
that
local.
doesn't have anything to do with it. That does not have anything to do with it. You ran into me.
32-year-old Jacqueline Levitt is suing the father of her child, Jean Carlos Felix, because she loaned him money to buy computer equipment and was never repaid.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 300 on the calendar in the matter of Levitt versus Felix. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat, ma'am.
Miss Levitt, your papers indicate that you were in a 5-year relationship with the defendant. That relationship produced a child, a son.
Yes.
And that during that 5-year relationship, you made loans to him well in excess of $5,000.
Yes.
Relationship terminated.
Yes.
You want your money.
Yes.
And you say?
That's not how it happened.
Tell me about it.
Well, we were in a relationship for about, I'd say, a year, almost a year. And he had a computer portrait business, and he wanted to enhance his computer equipment. So he came to me and asked me for a loan. And so I said, well, okay, it's understood that it's a loan. And he said, yeah, any money that I ask of you, it's going to be a loan. I'm going to pay it back. And I said, okay. So I made a record of it. I made a record of everything, because it's a business loan. And so
take it out. Show me. First, show him.
No, I've seen it.
You've seen it? Okay.
This is all the checks and everything.
Go ahead.
And so during the course of our relationship, he paid me back some money, And so he got a job like this year in July, and he's telling me that he gets paid like $4,000 a month. But yeah, he's not going to pay me back my money because, I was stupid, I was gullible, I believed everything that he said to me. He used me. He took advantage of my kindness, and we were together for 5 years.
And you say?
We met maybe back in 91 or 92, She came in to get insurance for me, and she's been calling me ever since. And then a week later, I decided to go out with her. And after a couple of months, it just didn't work out. Okay, I said, look, it's not going to work out. You just fresh off a relationship, you're insecure, you low self-esteem and everything. I don't want to go out with you. Okay, and she started crying. Okay, she's like, she grabbed my legs. Okay, she's like, please don't leave me. I don't want to be alone. I don't want this. I don't want that. Okay, I said, I'll stay with you, but nothing's going to come out of it. Okay, it was just strictly sexual. We'll go out. She even called me her booty call. She called me when she wants to have sex.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Hey. That's how it works, I'd go out, do my own thing, go out with whoever I wanted, okay, if I don't have anything better to do.
How chivalrous of you.
Well, that's what I pointed out. It's even on paper, It's like, take it or leave it, okay? I'm not going to have a relationship with you. Okay?
All of that is, listen, this is a boy-girl thing. If she wants to accept a relationship under those conditions, that's fine.
That's what she accepted.
We're talking here about.
I'm getting to that. I am getting to that. But in the meantime...
Loans, your insurance, all these checks with your signature on the back of endorsements. So, car payment.
I never asked her to pay anything for me, okay?
But just a second. Did you take it?
Yeah, she volunteered. Why not? That's like she thought she had to do that, okay, in order to keep me from leaving her. It's either pay stuff for me or send me dirty pictures, half-naked pictures, just
Put them
everything.
away. I don't want to see them.
You don't want to see? I've got them here. Anybody else?
No, just a second.
Right.
Anybody else want to see it? Is that what you just said? Did you just say anybody else want to see it?
But the whole thing was a joke to me, you know. It's like things were not working out from day one, and she's like...
So why didn't you just say goodbye?
I have.
You're a big guy. You want to say goodbye to somebody, you could just say goodbye.
I went to Miami. I went to Orlando. She would track me down. I have letters she sent me to everywhere I go.
Well, so you understood Mr. Felix, right? That according to you, Miss Levitt was infatuated with you.
Yes.
And you felt that she was, according to you, insecure. Is that right, sir?
She still is.
A dependent personality.
Yes.
That a fair statement? Vulnerable because of that.
Maybe
Right?
you could see that. Sure.
Sure. And so you decided to go over and, according to you, for want of a better phrase that unfortunately doesn't come to my mind right now, service her occasionally.
Hey, whatever, that's what...
Just a second, Mr. Felix. Am I right? Service her occasionally and pick up a check.
Nah, it wasn't always like that.
Let's go back a second, Mr. Felix. You did service her.
Yes.
And you did pick up a check.
That's not service for a check.
No,
It wasn't
no.
like that.
I'm just saying, you did service her, and you did pick up a check or two, or 10.
Sure.
Or 20. Now, Mr. Felix, that's not very nice, sir. That doesn't say to me that you are a very nice person. Do you want me to explain it to you?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She got pregnant on purpose. That didn't work, okay? I'm not going to be with her no matter what she does.
And later today,
You made the car payments for her?
She borrowed money from her family that I helped repay.
My family will be very surprised to hear that there were payments made to them.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jacqueline Levitt says the father of her child, John Carlos Felix, borrowed money to buy computer equipment, but never repaid her. He says the money was a gift.
Can I make this suggestion to you, sir? There will come a time when Miss Levitt will become so frustrated with the situation that if you don't take her to court, and I doubt that you will, because I doubt that you have this passion to see your child on a regular basis, but she will feel as if, as she should, that the child has a right to be supported by two parents. And that's what the law says. So she's going to take you to court. And under the law in many jurisdictions, she can take you to court seeking support from the date of the child's birth. Do you understand that? So I'm going to suggest, Mr. Felix, that from now on, when you make child support payments, you make them by check or money order made payable to her, clearly endorsed child support. So should there ever be a question about how much money you have paid, it is memorialized in a writing. I give you that piece of legal advice, sir, and I give it to you for free. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
Parties on Sherritt versus Liebenson. Step forward, please.
29-year-old Jill Charette says her ex-boyfriend, Brad Liebenson, agreed to make the payments on a Sea-Doo watercraft. Jill decided to sue after Brad missed several payments.
You were dating. He wanted a watercraft.
Yes.
Something that you ride on the water.
Exactly.
Very California.
Yes, it is.
But he had no credit. So you got the watercraft, she got the bill, and then you broke up, leaving you with the bill and him with the watercraft.
Not quite true.
You don't have the watercraft?
Yes, I do.
You have the bill?
I did.
Did you pay for it?
Up to a certain point, that's correct.
How much?
$1,000.
And how much was the watercraft?
Approximately $4,000.
So that leaves $3,000.
That's correct.
Well, explain to me why you don't owe her the watercraft or the $3,000.
Well, in the statement that I did give, we had come upon an agreement to where after I paid for her to stay with me during the period of our relationship and the money that I spent, that the balance of the watercraft was to be left in me as repayment.
When did you come up with this idea?
During one of our last meetings, before she actually moved out.
You had this conversation with her that you remember vividly as you stand here before me today.
Yes.
How long did you live together?
4 years.
He says that you came up with this agreement with regard to the watercraft, that you lived with him. I assume he's going to tell me that he paid all the bills. Is that right?
That's correct.
And that therefore you had an understanding that he would pay for the first $1,000 of the watercraft. Does any of that sound familiar to you?
There was never any conversation like that at all. The only conversation in regards to the jet ski was that I was going to pay for it and he would make the monthly payments on it until it was paid off or until he could come up with the lump sum to pay it off. There was never any trade for this, trade for that. That was never discussed. That wasn't part of the agreement at all.
Mr. Liebenson, when you were together, tell me what kind of expenses you took care of, sir.
Rent, utilities, car payment, things like that.
For yourself and for the plaintiff?
That's correct.
She had her own car?
Yep.
And you made the car payments for her?
She borrowed money from her family that I helped repay.
Explain that to me.
She didn't have money for a car when she moved out here. She borrowed money from her family. I repaid most of that money.
How much money?
Approximately $3,000.
Can you show me how you repaid that money?
I made payments to them.
How?
By check and by giving money to Jill.
Well, let me see some checks.
I don't have them here. I wasn't able to obtain them. My bank keeps all that on microfilm.
They keep it on microfilm, but you can get copies of that, sir.
They weren't able to get them to me.
Does any of that sound familiar?
No. My family will be very surprised to hear that there were payments made to them for repayment of a car, which I paid every dime of.
Assuming, Mr. Liebenson, that I do not believe you, let's start with that premise, sir. Your answer, sir, says for the first year and a half that you were together, you paid for rent, bills, car repairs, and food. There isn't anything here about repaying a loan to her parents.
Maybe
Nothing.
I omitted that when writing my statement.
Well, the statement is 2 pages long, sir. That's a really big thing to omit, considering that it's the first thing that you mentioned to me today, and a very, just happens to be in the same approximate amount of the water ski. And you go into great detail in your answer. Jill and I lived together for 4.5 years. During the last 6 to 8 months, I decided to purchase a personal watercraft.
That's correct.
Not the two of you. I decided. Although you say, due to my credit standing at that particular time, I was denied the loan. Jill offered to use her credit to obtain the loan. And then you say, after the separation, I discussed the fact that I had supported her during the first year or so, and we should offset that. So you go into great detail. Nothing about this loan that you paid, that you couldn't get from microfilm from your bank.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
All right, you got the watercraft?
That's right.
You got the bill. How much did you pay?
Altogether, a little over $5,000 with finance charges because it was a revolving line of credit. So there was finance charges that were accrued.
You're only suing for $3,200.
Yeah, basic blue book cost of the watercraft. It's basically the principle of the thing at this point.
Mm-hmm. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,200.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I was brought to court because somebody couldn't live up to their word.
I didn't have to live up to any word because I was telling the truth. There was no agreement ever made, so it had nothing to do with jealousy. I hope that he's happy and things are going great for him.
Guess wanted to try and teach me a lesson. Maybe she wasn't happy that I had already found somebody else.
I could care less. I wish him and her all the happiness. I just was tired of the lies and the abuse from his new girlfriend, and my, does she have a mouth on her. And I got tired of taking it. I tried to be reasonable and rational, but realized that I wasn't dealing with rational people.
5-year-old SB Haya is suing Life Partners founders Bill Elbring and Judy Hartline for a refund plus pain and suffering after attending their sensual therapy seminar.
Order. All rise. Quiet, please. Now, this is case number 341 on the calendar in the matter of Haya versus Hartline Elbring. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir? Sir, have a seat.
Mrs. Haya, from what I gather from your complaint, you were given a gift by your children of a 3-day seminar.
3.5 days.
To sort of get in touch with all your feelings, to understand whatever difficulties you had with your children historically, to try to work out your problems, whatever problems you were having with your kids. And the defendants ran that seminar.
Actually, they were in the back. They were not running at the seminar.
They own the seminar. That's why you're suing them, correct? Right. And you say that you stayed for the seminar, the 3 or 3.5 days, but it was a terrible experience. You want your money back. It wasn't your money, it was your kids' money. And you want another $4,300 for pain and suffering. Right?
Right.
Who are you, sir?
This is my husband.
Okay, and who are you?
I'm the son.
You're one of the 3 children?
Yes.
Okay. You don't want your money back?
No.
All right, so why don't you tell me about this seminar and what prompted you to go in the first place?
Well, it started with my daughter. She called me up about in late May, and she said, I want to tell you about it. I want you to come. I said, I don't want to come. And the minute she heard I don't want to come, she slammed the telephone on me. And
had you been having difficulty with your daughter?
Well, she was a little bit difficult.
How old is she?
She's 34. And the next time she called me up, she said, I want to enroll you in this. I said, Tammy, I don't want to enroll because I don't really need it. She said, no, I want you to enroll, and I want you to call up Judy and Bill. It was like an order. Otherwise, hell broke loose. You know, and you have to do it. There's no such.
So you did it?
I did it, you know.
So you went to the seminar?
So I went to the seminar.
Who paid for the seminar?
My children.
And did the children go with you?
She said she's going to be there to support me, which she did not support me.
Just a second. Did any of your children go with you for the 3 days?
She was in the back.
Your daughter?
My daughter.
So she did go to the seminar?
But I had no relationship with her.
But she was there?
She was in the back.
She was in the back. Now tell me what the problems were that you say you had at the seminar.
I experienced a very, very difficult, for 3.5 days. It was from 10 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock at night. And at 12 o'clock at night, he tells you the pervert that's running this. He tells you, get your notebooks out and take homework. 12 o'clock in the middle of the night, you have to go home. I am sick. I can't stand on my feet. I am not a woman that can take such pressure like this. 14 hours from 10 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock at night.
Why didn't you leave?
Why didn't I leave? Because I'm supposed to be there. I am programmed. I was brought up in the Middle East, in Iraq, Baghdad. As a Jewish woman, I couldn't say no to anything. I'm there. I had to do it, regardless of what my children wanted me. So I had to endure all the hardship that I had. from 10 o'clock till 12 o'clock at night with 20 minutes of lunch, only 20 minutes. And then when Rocky music starts, God help us if we don't sit on the chair. We have to sit like this. Excuse me, we have to sit like this. You can't sit like this, you can't sit like that. She comes and she says, you have to go like this. I mean, like this, you know, all day long. My feet swells up from being sitting so long, all day long. You know, 12 o'clock at night, I go home at 1 o'clock, I have to do homework.
What kind of homework were you given?
Oh, the different things. 50 words of this, 50 sentences of this. I said, what, they're crazy? You know, 20 minutes for lunch. One time I was sitting, I had the food in my mouth. When Rocky music starts,
What's Rocky music? You mean a certain
Rocky? The Sylvester Stallone, the music.
Rocky music.
That's right.
So the
minute Rocky music starts, you have to be sitting. Otherwise, God help you. The pervert all day long, he tells you about what is your sexual habits, what do you do for masturbation, what is this, you know, what is this, what kind of questions?
How many people were there?
We were 22 people and 20 in the back, something like that.
Okay, so 22 people, and then there were children
I need
or
some
mates.
water because I am very thirsty.
Okay, we'll wait.
Excuse me.
Bird, you want to help her with that before it ends up on the floor?
This is hell. Excuse me, Judge Judy. This was hell. They were supposed to bring us together. They broke all ties with my children.
Well, let's get to that. What happened with your daughter?
I didn't see her. I didn't see her in the morning. I didn't see her.
When it was over?
All I saw her going back and forth and giving the pervert some water to drink.
Okay. All right.
They destroyed me, and they destroyed my children, my son.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
I had to raise my hands to go to the bathroom, and I was told, this is not the time to go to the bathroom.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 65-year-old S.B. Haya says she endured pain and suffering during a sensual therapy seminar arranged by Bill Elbring and Judy Hartline. She's suing for a refund.
You went to the seminar too? At some point?
Yes.
Before your mother?
Before.
Yeah.
Step up for just 1 second. I have a couple of questions for you. How much before your mother went to the seminar did you go?
About 2 years prior.
And who did you go with?
I went with my girlfriend at the time.
You were having some problems that you felt you had to work out?
No, not. I just thought that it was something that would. It was a personal growth seminar, and I wanted to discover more about myself. And
did you support your mother going?
Well, I enrolled my sister into the workshop, and she had such a great experience when she came out. She asked my mom to go, and when she said to me that I'd like Mom to go through it, are you willing to pay half for it? And I said, yes. I think it's kind of a lost cause.
Why is that? Tell me your first name.
Eric.
Eric. There are 3 children.
Yes.
You, your sister, and there was another brother or sister?
Right, Bob. Brother Bob.
Okay. And what I gather is that as adults, you find your mother difficult.
Yeah, very difficult.
Okay. What about your dad?
He's a sweet man. He's,
okay. But you find
he's difficult too. He's a very stubborn man, but he's a sweet man.
Okay. So you were all trying, all 3 adult children were going to try to get to your mother.
Yeah. Try to help the relationship.
It didn't work.
No.
But you gave it a try. How much was the seminar?
$700.
Okay. All right, Eric.
Your
Do you
Honor,
remember
when you, as a witness, I would like to add something.
Certainly, sir.
Eric is a very intelligent boy, and all my children are very congenial. Up to 4 years ago, we had a very nice relationship. We fly from Florida to California. We spend in their house. They come to us. They spend in our house. To get closer to them, my wife bought an apartment. As a result of the seminar, we sold it now. We don't want to be there. You asked Eric if he went. He did not go once or twice. These seminars are geared to continue and continue and continue, and it never ends. And they are coerced to recruit more and more. He made me go, and the seminar that I went to, the things that happened there is mind-boggling, and maybe I should not go into it. It seems to me this is a cult because they follow American native traditions, and they bring 7 burning stones to tell us these are sacred fathers of ours, and they make us parade naked. At night, I had my eyes tied, and I had to hold on to 30 other naked men to walk in outside. We don't know whether we are going to go. Then,
does that sound familiar to you?
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Sure, listen.
Then
does that sound familiar? Does that happen? Just answer me yes or no. Does that happen?
One of the seminars that we brokered, I think he experienced that.
Your Honor, we went into a room.
Sir, let me ask you this question.
About that.
I'll ask you the same question I asked your wife.
Go ahead.
If somebody said to me, get naked, right, and go around touching 30 other people over 7 hot stones, I would ask them what it was that they were smoking. Do you understand? I would get my hat and coat and be out of there before a bird could blink his eyes.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
He enjoys listening to sexual habits of people. That's all, and he's thriving on it, and that's all he does.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Life Partners founders Bill Elbring and Judy Hartline say they don't owe a refund to SB Haya for a sensual therapy seminar because her daughter gave it to her as a gift.
What I want to know is, you seem like an intelligent, sweet man. Put your hand down, madam. Why in the world would an intelligent man like you, at your age, parade around naked in front of 30 other people?
Your Honor, if I had my children coerce me to a degree that if I do not follow, and B, this is ongoing for 3 years, they were after me. And I wanted to put an end to that. So I acquiesced and agreed.
Did you stay or did you leave?
I had to stay.
Sit down, sir.
Thank you.
All right. You want to tell me something? You're seminar brokers. What does that mean?
We search for the finest personal growth workshops on the planet. We identify them, we do them, and we recommend them to people, the ones that we've found to be most valuable.
You're in the merchandising business of service workshops. That's what I'm gathering from you, sir. People who want to do these workshops, whatever they are, come to you and say, this is what I got. Sell it. Is that right?
The other way around. We go find the ones that do good work.
Whatever. Whatever. Either you go and look for them, or they find you, you put together the package, and then sell them. Correct?
Yes.
All right. You want to tell me anything before I make a decision in this case? It's not a very difficult case.
I'm just sad to be here. I am sorry that this did not work for the Hayas. I'm very proud of what we do. We have thousands of people who have been well served, and I really do not understand what didn't work for them, but that's their deal.
Whatever didn't work for them, it didn't work for them. Mr. Haya, why don't you stand up with your wife, sir? Anything else you want to tell me, Eric?
I'm just very sad it didn't work out, too. It was an attempt to bring our family together. There's one thing that was not correctly stated, is that my father said that we had a great relationship prior to 3 years. We never had a great relationship.
You and your father, or you and your parents?
Me and my parents. But, yeah, there was never a smooth relationship since the day I was born.
Why?
Why?
Yeah. Were they overbearing? Were they uncaring?
No, they were good parents physically. They knew zero about emotional needs. And my attempt was to say, it's time for the parents to let go and really be with the children, because it's time, you know, we don't have that much time left on this planet. And if we could just, if you can know who I really am about what I am, that's all I want. And I'd like to also know what you're about too. It's not really juicy life to me anymore. So,
Eric, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, but you're missing something.
Yeah.
These two people were brought up in a time, they clearly were not born here.
Yeah.
They were born in a place where they probably had to struggle a little bit in order to physically survive.
True.
Is that right?
True.
And people of this generation who were brought up to physically survive, happiness was based on whether you had food on the table, whether the house was warm in the winter, whether there were warm coats and everybody had a pair of shoes in approximately the right size.
Yeah.
And they didn't spend a lot of time saying, am I really happy?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, am I putting my finger on it?
I get that.
All right? Today, your generation, I notice I take myself out of both generations. Your generation says there's more to life than just 3 meals a day and a roof over your head, and there's more to that.
Yeah.
There are feelings, we want to get in touch with our feelings. You missed it as children. You missed that stroking, that emotional stroking as children. I once found a card, you know, one of those greeting cards. And I don't know why it sticks with me right now. But there was a picture of a pig on the front of the card. And it says, the card said, never try to teach a pig to sing. It doesn't work and it annoys the pig.
Yeah.
Do you understand that? Well, these people are fixed in their ways.
Yeah.
Eric, you said they were good parents to you. They provided for you. Did you go to college?
Yeah.
They educated you, right?
Yeah.
They put you in the right direction. You grew up with a sense of responsibility. You know, you come to court, you know how to dress, you wear a suit and a tie, right? You're articulate. That didn't come from nowhere. I understand how you tried. It doesn't work. You just have to appreciate these two people for what they are. They were hardworking, diligent people who didn't have a lot of time to think about the esoteric things that you would like them to think about.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
You can't sue these people. This is not their fault. For whatever reason, you stayed for the 3.5 days of this seminar, Ms. Haya. The fact that it didn't work, don't speak. The fact that it didn't work for you, and the fact that your husband went, and even went through some things that I find kind of bizarre, but I'm sure there were people, Mr. Haya, that didn't find it bizarre, that went back again and again. It clearly wasn't for you two people. That doesn't mean you can sue them. That means that you should have picked up your hat and coat and said, adios. Eric, the most important thing is, I probably won't get through to your mother and father, but all I can tell you is, they seem like they're nice people. They're not the kind of Ozzie and Harriets that you would have hoped for as parents. They didn't come from an Ozzie and Harriet background. They probably struggled when they were 15 years old, 20 years old. How old were you when you came to this country?
I was 11.
And you?
I was grown up.
So you have to appreciate your parents for what they are and appreciate the fact that you still have parents and enjoy them. This lawsuit is dismissed. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I still love them very much. And I feel sadness for my mom's anger and my dad's confusion. And
I'm not confused. I know what I'm talking about.
I'd like the media to investigate these people. These people are frauds, only frauds. They want people's money for destroying relationship. That's what they're doing.
Best I can say is we held up a mirror. She didn't like what she saw, and now she wants to break the mirror. The man who ran the seminar is a licensed therapist in the state of California, 70 years old, highly experienced.
A pervert.
If this is not a cult, I don't know what is.
God should help them what they did to us.
He's ruined her 25th wedding anniversary because he was unprofessional, danced with the guests, and took bad pictures.
Order, all rise. Yeah, this is case number 355 on the calendar, in the matter of Walters versus Rice. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
You're the photographer.
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Mrs. Walters, you hired the defendant because you and your husband were celebrating your 25th wedding anniversary.
Yes, that's right.
It's lovely.
Thank you.
What kind of party were you having?
We rented the Marina Hornblower yacht, and we were having a celebration cruise for our family and our friends.
How many people?
60.
How did you find him?
Through an ad in the newspaper in the Daily Breeze, right here, under wedding photography.
Okay, can I see it?
Run.
So you hired him? Tell me about the agreement that you made with him.
I searched for a photographer, and then I saw that ad, and I said, well, let me go check this guy's work out, because I wanted special double effects and photography. And when I went to his home to look at his work, it was exceptional. I mean, it was knocked down. It was just so great work. This work was really good. And so without a doubt, I wrote him a check, and I hired him.
Was it a deposit, or was it?
I gave him a $200 deposit, and 2 weeks later, I paid him the rest in full in advance, before the wedding.
What was the whole price for the
$752.33, my contract.
And that was to include what?
That was to include him to come to my home 2.5 hours before the wedding to take pictures of my husband and my family and I, so we wouldn't waste time on the yacht. And that was to include a bridal album with 8x10.
So, now tell me why you're suing him.
Because the pictures that he showed me of our 25th wedding anniversary were horrible. I cried. I was devastated. I mean, these pictures were horrible. My friends took pictures with their regular cameras. Look at my pictures that they took with their regular cameras compared to the professional pictures that he took. I mean, it was horrible.
I will look at both.
Yeah.
Why do you think that happened?
I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea.
Well, you indicate in your complaint that his behavior at this function was somewhat less than professional. You want to tell me what you're complaining of?
He followed my sister all day.
I did.
and said all kinds of. I have it on video. I have the video right here. You can see it. I have him dancing, doing the Macarena, eating with my guests, not taking pictures. He poured a beer over the top of her head, made her dress see-through. I have it on video.
I would really like to see that.
I wish I was there too.
May I show you who he is on the video?
Yeah, just let.
I wear many hats, Your Honor. Photographer, comedian, dancer, pouring beer.
I hired you to be a photographer, not to be...
Listen to me. Don't answer him. I don't even think he himself was serious when he made that comment to me. Were you, sir?
Here he is, Your Honor.
You're right, Your Honor.
Here he is, doing the Macarena, right there. I have notes, there he is, doing the Macarena there in your courtroom.
Okay.
It moves me.
There he is.
Needs a little work. I want to see the beer pouring.
Other than this Macarena, is there anything else on this tape?
It just shows Leona having the beer on her head. It didn't show him actually doing it, but you could hear him.
Well, let me see. How much into the tape is that?
It's a little bit farther.
Would you speed it up, please, Third? Mr. Rice.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why did you pour a beer over this lady?
Well, I haven't seen that part yet, Your Honor. I don't believe I did.
Yes, you did. I mean, you're my
Miss Walters.
Sure.
Don't talk to him. I'm talking to him now.
Absolutely sure.
She's going to tell me This lady, if I ask her to stand up, which I will, stand up now.
Stand up.
You're her sister?
Yes.
Did he pour a beer on you at this function?
Yes, he did.
What did he say?
I was dancing, and he says, "You need to be cooled off." And he threw the beer on top of my head. And I had a satin dress on, and it clinged to me, and it was see-through, and I was really, really embarrassed.
Okay, sit down. Mr. Rice.
It sounds like a fun thing to do under the circumstances, but I was hired in a professional position and a capacity, and that's exactly what I did. I have on the...
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
I've made 4 or 5 weddings in my time. Hired a lot of photographers for other kinds of functions.
Mm-hmm.
I never had a photographer dancing with my guests. I never had a photographer coming and eating with my guests. I never had a photographer pouring anything over one of my guests. Otherwise, that photographer would have been brought out of the function in a box.
Yes, I agree.
Now, you did that. You were dancing with the guests, no jacket on, and sir, I didn't see you with a camera slung around your shoulder.
This was after, this was after all the ceremonial events were done, because the wedding was during the day.
I heard you for the whole time.
Do I look like I need help?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And so I was finished.
Just a second. What do you mean you were finished?
I was finished with all the ceremonial events. They were partying, and they were partiers.
How many rolls of film did you take, sir?
Approximately 250.
How many rolls?
No way.
Four, 220, medium format.
How many rolls of film?
2 rolls of 12 exposure, which was 24 prints, and then 4 at 24.
So altogether, you had how many pictures?
4 times 24 times 12. Me and my math. Probably 150, approximately.
96 and 24 is 120. Okay. So you had 120 pictures. Let me see them.
The irony of this thing.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
That's 99% of the profession, is being able to mesh and flow and get into the party mood.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Dorothy Walters is suing photographer Ron Rice for taking bad pictures and being unprofessional at her 25th wedding anniversary. He says the pictures are good and that he was just enjoying himself.
120 pictures. Let me see them.
The irony of this thing is I saw her. She didn't want. I was supposed to give her the 5x5 proofs.
Just a second.
She didn't even want them.
Listen to me.
I mean,
Mr. Rice,
to me.
Miss Walters.
Okay, he wouldn't.
Miss Walters. Where are the 120
in
prints?
the trash.
Okay, who put them in the trash?
2 weeks ago, before she served me the notice, I said, "Look, here's Barbara's."
I'm Dorothy.
Dorothy.
Just a second.
Whomever. Dorothy. I'm sorry.
So the answer is you don't have them. You threw them away.
I have the negatives.
Just a second.
I was going to.
You have the negatives of 120 pictures? Let me have them.
All right. All right. Yes, sir. Shall I?
Oh, don't come too close to me, Mr. Rice.
And here's Your Honor, would you want to show me?
Just a minute. What's the difference between these and these, sir?
Print quality and definition. One's 2 1/4 format. Those are 35 millimeter format. The other one is 6 by 6 millimeter. Those are table shots. So you want to do a wedding, all the ceremonial events, all the romantics, anything that has to do with, the principles of the wedding party are shot in with the 2 1/4, the format.
And this is 2 1/4?
No, that's 35 millimeter. That's where table shots, guest shots.
There are no table shots here, sir.
Maybe, can I see them?
No.
Okay.
And all these negatives are the negatives, right?
Those are the negatives of, yes.
Bird, would you count up these?
Sure.
These negatives?
No problem.
Thank you. I just want to know how many there are, because she says that
Make sure there are
limited number
too.
of rolls. Now let me take a look at the pictures.
Okay, Bert. These are the ones he took? Here's the identical pictures that the guest took.
With the polarizer.
No, this is with
who's the professional here?
Hey,
who's the professional? Look at those pictures.
One, two, three, and then you're both out of here. Do you understand? And if you're out of here, you lose. Do you understand? Now, these are the ones your guests took.
Yes.
And these are the ones that you're complaining about that he took.
Yes.
Are these the only pictures that you were given by him?
No, I was given another book.
Where is it? Where are the...
You have it. You wouldn't give it to me.
Where are the 30...
What words didn't you both understand? Don't talk to each other. I don't like to have to raise my voice. I want to see the photographs that he took at your house. Do you have those?
No.
You didn't bring...
Don't speak.
Your Honor, he took them. He would not give them back to me because I said, these are unacceptable. And he took them. He wouldn't give them back to me.
Just a second. So are you telling me that these are
That's
the only
pictures I have.
Can I finish my question?
I'm sorry.
Are these the only pictures that you have of your wedding anniversary party that he took?
Yes, they are.
She just perjured herself.
You just threw
Shut
the
up!
book away. He threw the book away. That's what he told you. Okay, I'm sorry.
Show me, sir, what you say she has in addition to these.
She has 34 8x10s that she ordered from the prince.
Show me the order with her signature on it.
Right here?
Good. Can I see it, please?
She got her plan. I mean, it's a very flexible plan. She got plan 3.
Sir.
Oh, yes, Your Honor.
Stop talking. This is the contract. This is not her order.
Absolutely right.
Show.
I'm sorry.
Don't say you're sorry. Just be quiet. Okay. This is not an order. This is the contract.
Is it in
I
that
have
package?
the original. This is your copy.
Is it, what's in that package there? Is there some, like a price list or anything in there like that, other than just the negatives?
How many were there, Bert?
70, Judge.
Okay. Now listen to me, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Listen carefully. There are 70 negatives here. 70. You wouldn't dispute that with Bird, would you?
Oh,
No.
Bert.
Now,
Not Bert.
this is...
It's probably a 36 roll, Your Honor. But,
So altogether, you took 106 pictures, not 150.
well, actually, with the 70 pictures, it was more than enough because what she had ordered was just those elect, professionally looking, beautiful few, if I may add.
Mr. Rice, I asked you a question, and you will not deflect me with your palaver. Where is her order for these 8x10s that you just told me about?
What? I mean, they're right there. They're right on those MAC cards.
Well, show me her signature on those things,
No, there's
sir.
no signature. The
Show
contract.
Officer Bird. Give him the whole envelope, Bird, would you please?
Help. Okay. There was no album. She ordered $252 worth, tax 20. I mean, she ordered. Where are the 10x10s?
You have them.
Where are they? I mean, you have them.
All
Where
right,
are
now,
they?
let me tell you what happens
like,
when
where
you
are
don't listen 4 times. 4 times you don't listen.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
It's wearing hats, not just being a professional, being stuffy.
Oh my God.
You have to have personality. You have to go on with a smile.
And later today,
If I give you $200, you have to give me the camcorder back. No, I don't have to. It's mine. It's mine. It belongs to me. You're full of it.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Dorothy Walters wants the money back she paid photographer Ron Rice because she says the pictures were unprofessional.
Mr. Rice?
Yes, ma'am.
I find that based upon what I've seen in the photographs, what I've heard today, that your conduct on the day of this anniversary party was less than professional and certainly less than what Miss Walters bargained for when she retained you. So, you're going to refund to her $752.33 because of you, she doesn't have what she bargained for, which was a professional photographer who behaved in a professional manner, who furnished her professional pictures. And in addition, since you told me that the proofs that you gave her, you took and threw in the garbage, which means that you certainly didn't want them, Miss Walters, I'm giving you all the negatives.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh,
That's
thank
all.
you.
They're no good anyway.
They're no good. You said they were professional photographers.
You don't want them.
Bodies are excused. You may step
You
out.
said they were good.
Bodies are excused. You may
Here, I'll
step
throw them in
out.
the
They're
trash.
no good.
Step out
Yeah,
the
they're
back
no
door to your
good.
right.
It's wearing hats, not just being professional, being stuffy.
Oh my God.
You have to have personality. You have to go in with a smile. I mean, that's part of, that's 99% of the profession is being able to mesh and flow and get into the party mood. Give me a kiss. Give me a hug. Come on.
He's nuts.
I give him a
He's
hug.
nuts.
Whoa.
He's nuts.
Well, I mean, it's like I was
Thank you,
born that
Judge.
way. What's your excuse?
And now the next case.
Bodies on Hill versus Mathis. Step forward, please.
32-year-old Robin Hill is suing her former sister-in-law, Teresa Mathis, age 36, because she won't return her video camera.
Do I understand this correctly, that you two ladies are sister-in-laws or in some way related? Still sister-in-laws?
I'm unsure of it. They got divorced. I don't know.
You divorced?
Right.
From her brother?
Yes.
So you're former sister-in-laws?
Correct.
And let me understand this. You needed $200 for some sort of move a couple of years ago.
Right.
You asked your sister-in-law, who I assume was then still married to your brother,
Correct.
for the $200. According to you, she lent you the $200, and you gave her your camcorder.
Correct.
As sort of insurance for the repayment of this loan.
Right.
Now you're suing her because you say you went back and retrieved the camcorder and it's broken.
Right.
And the camcorder, you paid how much for?
It was on sale. We paid roughly $900.
So you're suing her for $500.
Which would be about replacement cost of it.
And you say nothing could be farther from the truth. No. That you bought the camcorder.
I purchased the camera because she was going to Oklahoma for $200, and I told her that if she got the money back, as soon as she got it, that I would sell it back to her if she wanted. And
for the $200.
Right. Right.
Okay. Yeah. How did you get the camcorder back?
She asked me to house sit for her while they were in Oklahoma with bicycle races for their son. And a friend of mine had asked me to film some stuff.
How long ago was this?
This was November of last year.
So November of last year, when you were house sitting, you got your camcorder back.
Well, I went to borrow it to use it to film some stuff, and it didn't work. So I went to put it in a shop. They had a fit and told me, though, they wanted to get it fixed. I said, fine. So I gave it back to them to get it fixed. Mm-hmm. And I was more than willing to give them their money back. And if it was my fault that it was broke, then I would have paid for it. But it was working when they got it, and I don't think I should have to pay for it to be fixed.
Did you give her back the $200?
I've offered it to her.
Just a second.
No.
Did you give her back the $200?
She refused it. No, that's not true. That is true. It's not true. That is true. When I asked for the money, she didn't have it. She never had the money. The only reason she came to my house and took the camera while we were gone out of my closet was because she needed money and she wanted to sell it, and then had planned to pay me after she sold the camera. When I purchased the camera, it was working, just not properly. You can see by the film that I brought that it has lines in it. And that was in April of '95 at a national that we went to, my son's bike races.
Whatever, so you went and you had it fixed?
When I got the money, because I was single, my ex-husband and I were divorced. I have 3 children and a large house payment. So when I did get the money, which was in March, I said, this is terrible. You know, I have this camera, I can't even use it. It doesn't work right. So I took it down. Her aunt was with me also at the races when I purchased the camera, and it kept shutting off. She was standing beside me, and we were taping our children.
All right, if you don't have to go into a whole long thing, it's not a very difficult case.
Okay.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Ms. Hill.
Yes.
If I believe your story, she lent you $200, you gave her the camera until you paid her back the $200.
Correct.
You never paid her back the $200. Where's the camera now?
She still has the camera. I've never lost the camera. Perfect. I still have it.
Camera's yours.
Right.
When she gives you back the $200, you just listen to me.
Okay.
When she gives you back the $200, you give her back the camera. Right now, you didn't give her back the $200, so the camera's hers. That's very simple.
I understand that, Your Honor.
Good. That's all. Case is dismissed.
Bodies are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I've got notarized statements saying it was working.
It worked.
but it didn't work right. That's not my fault. Well, it's not my fault. You hauled it in your car all the way to Oklahoma since 1991, all over the place. That's what happened.
Well, that's not my fault. If I give you $200, you have to give me the camcorder back.
No, I don't have to. It's mine. It's mine. It belongs to me.
You're full of it.
19-year-old Valerie Ricker is suing former roommate, 20-year-old Amber Burgoon, for damages to their home and property. Amber is countersuing Valerie for assault.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 435 on the calendar in the matter of Ricker versus Burgoon. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat.
Well, even with a road map, and after a long nap, I couldn't figure out what you two people are suing each other for. All I know is that the two of you decided to live together for a period of time. Each of you has a child. Is that right?
Correct.
How old are you?
I'm 19.
And how old's your child?
3.
Terrific. And how old are you?
I'm 20.
And how old's your child?
4.
Oh, what an America. Anyway, you decided to live together. It didn't work out. And each of you wants $5,000 from the other. That's the only thing that I could figure out. You're suing for $5,000, your counter-suing for $5,000. You have 5 minutes, I'm watching my clock, to explain to me why you're suing her for $5,000.
I'm suing Amber because when she asked me to move in with her, my agreement with her was the only way that I will move in with you is if Louie is not there. There is no drugs in the house. I do not want your dog there. I do not like dogs.
Louie is the boyfriend?
Yes, that is her boyfriend. She said, okay, he won't be there. The dog will be gone. And Mr. Lopez, the owner of the property, does know that you will be living here. Well, none of the above happened. She didn't let the landlord know that I was there. My mother spoke to the owner of the property, and he said, no, I did not know. There's 8 people living in a 3-bedroom house. Okay, the dog has attacked the mail lady and another mailman, a substitute. I told her, Amber, you know, it's not fair. We don't get our mail because of your dog. Take care of it. I told her, split the bills up evenly. She didn't. Her boyfriend was there 90% of the time. If it wasn't her boyfriend, it was her brother, 13 years old, not in school, watching TV, playing video games, eating the food. She didn't pay for any of the food. One time, $30. The rest of the food was bought by me. The electricity, I'm not paying for her boyfriend and her brother. She wants to divide it up evenly, divide it up by 8. Her brother, her daughter, her boyfriend, my daughter, me, and the other 2 roommates. That's how it should be divided up. If she's charging for us, for her boyfriend to be there and her brother to be there, that's what I think.
Why didn't you move out?
I gave her my 30 days notice.
Just a minute, how long did you live there?
I lived there for a month.
So what are you suing her for?
Because she had broken my bedroom window trying to move her stuff, or her boyfriend's stuff, and because it was raining and the weather damage, she said she would get it fixed. As a landlord, she has to.
Why didn't you put a cardboard there?
I put up a piece of paper. She told me, take it down. I'm going to get it fixed today. She never got it fixed.
Just a second. You go into a store, you buy a piece of plastic, you put it up on the window. So what you're suing for is for damage that was done to some of your things because of the broken window.
Because of the weather.
Because of the weather.
Because the weather came in through the broken window.
Okay. So that's what you're suing her for?
Yes.
Okay. And what was damaged?
My VCR. I have a statement, an estimate from the company.
You have a VCR,
for
what else?
$99, brand new, I just got for Christmas.
Okay. And what else?
And my TV. The TV, they said, unfortunately, there was nothing wrong with it. It had dried out. The moisture had dried out. $114, it says on here.
$114. So where do you get $5,000 from? Well, that's a nice round number. Now, what are you suing her for?
I'm basically suing her for the money she owes me for what she didn't pay rent. She put a stop payment on the check. She did beat me up in my own home, in my hallway. She and her mother have assaulted my boyfriend. My boyfriend was not there. You know, that was not the great.
Tell me,
my dog
what are you
was there.
suing her for?
I'm just suing her, you know, to protect myself. My property was damaged. I had to pay for that when I move in. I'm forced to move out of my home. I've gone through medical bills from when she assaulted me.
Well, tell me about the assault.
I have a restraining order against her.
Tell me about the assault, madam.
The assault, she assaulted my boyfriend.
I don't care about your boyfriend.
Okay. She assaulted me when a friend of hers came over. I did not know it was a friend of hers. I opened the door, and, you know, somebody was knocking on my door. I opened it. There's a girl standing there, and she comes walking into my house. She comes out of the bedroom, and I say, you know, I turn around, I told her, I say, I hope you don't have any plans to spend the night. Because we've been going through a lot of problems in the house with Valerie, you know, and yelling and screaming at everybody.
So you said, I hope she doesn't plan on staying through the night. And what
right. I
happened?
told her, I said, I hope you don't have plans on staying the night here. And she goes, yes, she is, and started cussing at me and F you, Amber, you know. And I said, well, I just want to tell you that I'm going to pay your half of the gas bill, you know, for my boyfriend taking showers, my brother taking showers here. And she goes, I don't care. I don't want to hear anything from you. Went in the bedroom, slammed the door in my face. I kicked the bottom of the door once, and I said, look, don't slam the door. I'm trying to talk to you. She came out with full fists, pinned me in a corner in my hallway, and started hitting me and pulling my hair and kicking me, and it took 3 people to pull her off of me.
You have medical bills?
Yes, I do.
Let me see them. You want to tell me about this assault incident?
Your Honor, my best friend, she's right here, came over because we were going over to some boy's house that night. She came, she knocked on the door, said to her daughter, oh, she's so cute. Is that your daughter? How old is she?
Hi, Judge Judy. My name is Marilyn Embry. I'm a friend of Valerie's. I came over to her house. It's been the second time I came over there. I didn't know the problem was that bad between the two of them. I knocked on the door. She was kind of rude when she opened the door. I said, hi, is Valerie here? She said, yes, she is. And I said, oh, is that your daughter? She's really cute. She didn't respond to me. Valerie came outside. I did have an overnight bag.
Stop playing with the papers, please.
I had an overnight bag, but I had no intentions on spending the night. I thought maybe because we were going to come back late. I didn't know it was going to be that big of a deal. Well, she said, I hope you don't plan on spending the night. Valerie says, yes, she is, and I don't think I need to talk about this with you anymore. Her and I walked down the hallway into her bedroom. She was still yelling, and Valerie's yelling back, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to hear it. We go into her room, she shuts the door and locks it. She's still screaming, don't effing slam the door in my face. She kicks the door maybe once or twice. I really don't know how many times. Valerie opens the door because she thought the door was going to break. I thought the door was going to break. Well, her daughter's standing right next to her the whole time she's doing all this, and she's a little girl. We opened the door, she pushed Valerie. Valerie pushed her back. They both started fighting. It was mutual. Yes, Valerie was hitting her more times than she was hitting her, but I mean, we assumed that she was really going to hurt Valerie. She came to the door and kicked the door. I started pulling them apart, and then her little brother came out, and I just kept trying to break it up, and then the rest of the roommates came out, but she didn't want to attack her or anything.
What you're saying was she came to the door. She came to the door. She kicked at the door. When she opened the door, she pushed her first. She pushed her back, and they started to fight.
Right.
And she was punching her more than she was getting punched. Judge, that's what you just said?
Yes.
That doesn't make any difference.
Okay.
Who was winning the fight doesn't make any difference.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
She's quite responsible.
Oh, yes.
And later today.
Everybody is out to make a buck on somebody else's sorrow, sadness, hopes, dreams, aspirations. Yours is one of the worst kind.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Valerie Ricker says her former roommate, Amber Burgoon, damaged her home and property. Amber says Valerie assaulted her.
What else are you suing her for?
That is all.
Good. It's easy. Does it look?
I have something to add to it, if I might, please.
About what?
About the situation with the altercations, the trouble with Valerie.
What's the difference of the trouble with Valerie? Madam, you're her mother?
Yes, I am.
Why wasn't she living with you and your grandchild?
Because she's an adult and she can
She's not an adult.
her own way.
She's not an adult. She's a teenager with a 3-year-old child.
She's quite responsible.
Oh, yes. Who do you work for?
I work for Vaughn's.
And you make enough money to take care of you and your child?
Yes, I do.
Really?
Yes,
She
I
is
do.
on aid.
Yes, I also am on aid.
So you get welfare?
I'm on aid, plus I work because my child's father does not want to
Just a
support
second.
her.
Just a second. You get welfare and you work at Vaughn's.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you think that that's totally responsible, That's why she's a mature adult. That's why she's not living with you with her grandchild. So you allowed your grandchild to go and live in a house where there were 8 other people living.
No, there was not 8 other people living there at the time. See, that's what...
Just a second. How many times did you go over there to see the living conditions?
Numerous times. Every day I was there.
Well, if you were living there and your daughter is telling me that there were 8 people living in this house and a vicious dog, why didn't you take your daughter and your grandson after a day and say this is not an appropriate place for you to live?
We did.
And should she come home?
Yes, I did.
No, she didn't. She said she stayed there for a month.
in my house after the point.
She said she stayed there for a month. So I don't see the reason for a lawsuit. I don't see where you get $5,000. I don't see where you get $5,000. You tried living together. It didn't work out. You went home to your parents. Correct? Goodbye.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
Parties on Bartnoff versus Talon. Step forward, please.
40-year-old salesperson Barbara Bartnoff claims matchmaker Linda Talon scammed her by charging for photos and falsely promising dating services. Linda says Barbara was never guaranteed a date.
Ms. Bartnoff, you were interested in meeting some nice gentlemen.
Correct.
And how did you find the defendant's service?
In a magazine, it's called The Journal, which circulates all over Los Angeles.
Do you have the ad?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it. Now, why don't you tell me what happened when you responded to this ad?
Well, when I called up Ultimate Encounters, as described as it states in her magazine advertisement that the service is free for women. So I called her up and she gave me the pitch over the phone, how she has thousands of men inside her catalog, and, you know, they're all professional, they earn well over $100K, and she invited me down to her home, and she works out of her living room, which is located in Redondo Beach, and I went down there and she described me her service and how she has years of experience of psychology and sociology, and how she's must have set up, you know, 90%, anyway.
Wonderful, and it wasn't going to cost you anything because the men pay.
Well, when she told me the service for women was free, however, you have to pay a fee of only $165 to have your photographs taken at her photography studio located in Hollywood. And you don't have the option of going to your own service, you have to go to hers. You don't even have the option of bringing in your own photographs.
Did you at any time ask then how she made a living? I mean, how does she make her money?
What she does is that she contacts all these men that she has in her catalog, tells them about our profile and background. If they like what they hear, then they go down to her house, review our photographs, then they instruct her, I want to meet this woman, that woman, this woman, and then she contacts the women and said, this guy wants to meet you, this guy wants to meet you, this guy wants to meet you.
That sounds all very nice. How do you make your living? Do you charge the men?
Yes, Your Honor. The men pay the membership fee, not the women.
Oh, interesting. So, and what do the men pay?
Depending on how long they join, Your Honor, they pay anywhere between $2,000 and $5,000, depending on the length of the membership, depending on the amount of guaranteed introductions they receive. The women pay absolutely no membership fee whatsoever. Period.
So let me figure this out. So you went down and took your photographs.
Correct.
And paid the $165.
Correct.
And nothing happened.
Correct.
Didn't get a call.
I got nothing from her. Every single month I called her and I go, hey, what's up? What's going on? Anything yet? And finally, after the 4th or 5th month, I finally got her on the phone because every time I called her, I always got her machine.
And she said you weren't picked.
Well,
in effect, that's what she said. I mean, I'm not being unkind to you. Right?
Right.
That's what she said to you.
Well, she said a little bit more than that.
Well, I'd like to hear what she said.
She goes, well, I asked her, hey, Linda, what's going on? It's been 4 or 5 months. You know, you gave me the impression that you were going to set me up with all these guys, you know. And she said to me, listen, had you read your contract, the service fee was free. I work for the men who paid me a service fee of $5,000, and had you paid me $5,000, I would get off my butt tomorrow and start look for someone for you. And why don't you just go F yourself, and you need to get yourself an F life. And then she hung up on me. You know, and I'm just going, real nice woman. So I called her back up. I go, Linda, listen to me. All I want to know, how many men did you potentially introduce me to?
What did you call her back for?
Well, I was just kind of curious, how many men did she present me to?
Yeah.
1, 2,
Just a
5,
second, just a
50?
second. I don't want to hear you anymore. I really don't want to hear you anymore.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
That, madam, is a kickback. Do you tell them you're getting a kickback
No,
from the
I do
photographer? Good.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Barbara Bartnoff says she was never called for a date. Now she wants matchmaker Linda Talon to return the money she spent on photos for the dating service.
How many women like this paid you $165 to have their photographs taken?
I've been in business for over 6 years. This is the first time this has ever happened.
Well, maybe because the other ones were embarrassed.
I would say probably 500.
Why did you need a certain photographer to take the pictures?
The way that I do that is because when the men review the files, they're very visual. I can guarantee they have not been airbrushed or retouched. They feel comfortable when they go and meet the women for dinner, that they will not look different. They will not be disappointed.
Well, listen, just a second. We may talk a good game. I guarantee you on your best day, you're not as smart as I am. You are seeing the product in your office. If the product comes in, the lady product, you don't mind if I refer you to, for the purposes of this argument, as a product, you can see what they look like. And if they bring you a photograph and say, well, here are my photographs, and you look at it and say, babe, this is airbrushed, or this looks like you when you were 12, can you get some more updated pictures? They can go out and do that. So that's the assurance that you need because you're meeting the person. She came to your home/office. So why does she have to take pictures for $165?
I just explained to you so the men feel...
Baloney! Because what you're saying to the men is, I've seen this person. They come to your home/office and they look at the photographs, and what you're saying is, I have seen this person, and this photograph is a fair and accurate representation of what they look like. I wouldn't allow a photograph to be placed in here of somebody that's 10 years old. So you're a scam artist because you're using this photography business as a way of making money.
I disagree.
Your service, oh no, you don't have to be a genius to figure that out. Cost her $165 and she got absolutely nothing from it. She's perfectly attractive, upbeat kind of gal. People wouldn't know that she's an upbeat kind of gal from a photograph, but she's certainly a perfectly attractive lady. She spent $165 and got absolutely nothing from you because, as far as I'm concerned, you're operating a scam.
Can I interject, Your Honor?
Yes.
Charges $3,000 with 0 guarantees, and they make you go to that one photographer for $250, like it or not, no guarantees. And I personally got married through them.
Well, I want to tell you something.
So they do the same routine. So
I
what
want
I'm
to tell
doing...
you something. Just because one company is scamming for $250 and one company is scamming for $165, that doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it right. And I'm not even going to ask you how much of that $165 ends up in your pocket. Because I don't like people to commit perjury. Dear.
Your Honor, there were no guarantees whatsoever.
Did you hear what I said? You want me to ask you the question? How much of that $165 ends up in your pocket?
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Miss Talon, how much of that $165 ends up in your pocket?
Very little.
Ha! Very little ain't nothing. So what you said is a free service, is not a free
membership. Free membership.
God, Miss Talon, you know, everybody is out to make a buck on somebody else's sorrow, sadness, hopes, dreams, aspirations. Yours is one of the worst kind. And the other companies that you talk about who do the same thing are also among the worst because they're taking people who are really looking to make a life for themselves who say, I want this. And whether it's your place, great hopes, great dreams, whatever else they are, they're saying, pay us $165, pay us $250, there's no membership fee, just go to our photographer. And you get a kickback from your photographer, whether it be $10 or $20 or $50 of $165. I'm not asking you that question because it's really not important how much you get. You've already told me you get very little, which means you get something. That, madam, is a kickback. Do you tell them that? Do you tell them you're getting a kickback
No,
from the
I do
photographer? Good. $165. That's what you're suing for. That's what you get. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I can't twist someone's arm to go out with someone. They're the ones that are paying. They get carte blanche as to who they want to meet. I personally got married through a matchmaker, and I, in turn, did the very same thing that Barbara did, and I paid a lot more, and it did work. And the men are the ones that are totally happy because they do get a service that I provide for them, and they're very happy with the results.
হ্যালো গাইস, হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ কি অবস্থা তোমাদের? কেমন আছো তোমরা? আশা করি তোমরা সবাই ভালো আছো। রিলিজ করা যায় না ভাই। সবাইকে স্বাগত জানাচ্ছি আমাদের একটা ভিডিও।
আরে মুকুল ভাই হলো যে, আরে চকলেট ভাই কি অবস্থা? ভাই স্ন্যাপিং করে আমি আর কি মানে মোটামুটি বাড়ি আছি।
কি খবর?
এই তো ভাই কালকে তো হ্যাপি নিউ ইয়ার, তো ভাই ব্রাদার হাতে একটু আড্ডা দিবার লাগি আইলাম ভাই।
হ্যাপি নিউ ইয়ার, হ্যাপি নিউ ইয়ার। আমি তোমাকে সার্ভারে দেখে জাস্ট ঢুকে পড়ছি। আমি অবশ্য ক্লায়েন্টের কাজ করতেছিলাম।
এই ভাই ব্রাদারের সাথে আড্ডা দিতেছি ভাই, কারণ নতুন বছর পার্টি দিতেছি। কমিউনিটি পোস্ট দেই নাই চ্যানেলে, কারণ ভিডিও আপলোড হইলো একটা, ওই ভিডিও আপলোড যেহেতু দেই নাই তো কমিউনিটি পোস্ট আজকে নাই দেই।
এই দেখো আমি ক্লায়েন্টের কাজ করতেছিলাম, দেখলাম তুমি সার্ভারে আছো।
হ্যাঁ ভাইদের সাথে একটু আড্ডা দিতেছি। বাহ, আপনি গেম খেলতেছেন?
আর বলো না, ক্লায়েন্টের খুব চাপ পড়ছে, এখন কিছু করার নাই।
সেই ভাই সেই অস্থির। বাহ, আজকে রিঅ্যাকশন দিব আমরা চকলেট গেমার গেম প্লের উপর। হ্যাঁ না ভাই, কি ভাই বডি শট মারলে চলবো ভাই? হেডশট লাগবে তো?
হেডশট তো মারাই লাগবে। আমি খেলি না অনেক দিন ধরে।
ঠিক আছে, এই শীত নতুন বছরে তো এই উপলক্ষে একটা ভিডিও চাই নাকি সবাই?
ভিডিও ভাই আমার তো শরীর অনেক খারাপ ভাই, আমি অনেক অসুস্থ তো ভাই, আমার কিছুদিন টাইম দিতে হবে আগে। ভাইটা ঠিক হোক তোমাদের, তারপরে ভাই আস্তে আস্তে দেখা যাবে। ভাই এখন আমি বলি সবকিছু যে আমার উপরে দিবা তেমন না। তোমরা আমার ভাই ব্রাদার, তোমরা জেনে অন্যায় দেখবা সেনেই প্রতিবাদ করবে, একাই করবা, যা আছে গোপালে একাই করবা। কারণ কোন বড় ছোট স্ক্যাম হইছে ডাইরেক্ট পুলিশের কাছে যাবা। লাখ টাকা স্ক্যাম হইছে, 50,000 টাকা স্ক্যাম হইছে, কোনোভাবে কিছু করতে ডাইরেক্ট পুলিশ।
আমি তো প্রবাসী নাকি দেশের বাইরে থাকি ভাই, আমি কেমনে কই যামু কও?
আচ্ছা তাহলে এই ক্ষেত্রে ভাই কি করতে পারো?
তুমি না যেতে পারো, শুনো, তুমি না যেতে পারো, তুমি বলতে পারো বাংলাদেশে কোনো ভাই ব্রাদারকে, সে মনে করো যে স্টেপ নিবে। হ্যাঁ
না এইসব ভাই কেমনে যাই? হ্যাঁ তো মনে করো আমি অনলাইনে বলবো, যেহেতু অনলাইনে মানতে মনে করো আমার সে বুঝো না।
বর্তমানে সিচুয়েশনটা এমন হয়ে গেছে গা, অনলাইন ভাই এখন স্ক্যামে ভরা ভাই।
না শুনো, কেউ যদি স্ক্যাম করে এবং তোমার কাছে যদি প্রুফ থাকে, সেটা তুমি অবশ্যই কাজে লাগাতে পারবা। কিছু টিম আছে যাদের খরচপাতি দিলে তারা মনে করো যে নিজে গিয়ে সব কাজ করবে। সব
স্ট্রিমারও কিন্তু ঠিক আছে, তাই আইছি।
কি কোন ইউটিউবার কি করছে ভাই?
ডিএক্সডি বস আছে না, ওর কাছে জিজ্ঞেস করো, ওর কাছে আমি দিলাম কিছু। এই হ্যালো, মাইক মিউট করছো কে? খোলো, কথা বলো।
সাদি হ্যালো, তোমার এই বিষয় নিয়ে কথা আছে তোমার সাথে। এখানে প্যাচ আছে মিয়া, এটা প্যাচ আছে, এটার মধ্যে প্যাচ আছে। এটা নিয়ে তোমার সাথে একটু পরে কথা বলতেছি আমি।
আর ইউটিউবারে কি ঝামেলা হইছে?
ওই নতুন ফুডছে এটা বুঝছো?
আরে কি টাকা মানে কি এমনি কইরা, মানে আইডি সেলিং কিভাবে?
না আমার সাথে ভাই, আমার কাছে ধার নিছে টাকা, আমার আইডি সহ মেরে দিছে, আর কয়েকজনের টাকা মেরে দিছে, কয়েকজন আইডি মেরে দিছে, সবার সাথে জন টাকা। সমস্যা কি
এই বিষয়ে তোমার সাথে? এই বিষয়ে কথা আছে, এখানে প্যাচ আছে। এখানে আপাতত সাকিব বাইরে ইনভলভ করো না, এটা আমি পরে দেখতেছি। তোমাদের এটা পার্সোনাল ঝামেলা, আমি যতটুকু জানছি। তো ভাই এটা নিয়ে আপাতত কথা বললো না, তোমাদের দুইজন রায় না, আমি কথা বলতেছি, ঠিক আছে?
আমি তো ওরে বইরা দেওয়ার লাগে অলরেডি আমি পেজ কিনে রাখছি অলরেডি, মনে করো মানে আমি তারে যতক্ষণ না
আমিও ভিডিও বানায় রাখছি, আমার ভিডিও রেডি। বাট কথা হইতেছে এখন যদি বিষয়টা প্রপার আমি না করি, না বিষয়টা যদি আমি প্রপার মনে করো রিসার্চ না করি, তাহলে তো হইলো না মিয়া, বুঝো না? আমার তো দুই সাইড দেখতে হইব নাকি?
যাই করো ভাই 2 দিন 4 দিন 6 দিন 1 সপ্তাহ যাই লাগুক এই যে প্যানেলের যে বিষয়টা এটা কিন্তু আমি 2-1 দিনে ভিডিও বানাই না আমি কিন্তু